while some people who mostly are drama YouTubers were focusing a lot of their efforts and all of their free time on making a nuke about yours truly, because I leased a car, bought a house for myself and my family, and also am uncompromisingly pro-Palestine, which are all unacceptable. Ryan Beard was actually compiling at least some of the details of a person that I consider to be a fairly large menace in the live streaming sphere. His name is Destiny, also known as Sex Pestiny, also known as Epstiny, the leader of the Diddy G clan. I'm going to issue multiple trigger warnings for sexual abuse, harassment, and the like before we move into this.
I don't wish to bring anybody any more harassment than they've already received, but you have to understand that at this point, I'm kind of being pushed into playing my entire hand. There will be no vague allegations today. There will be no mentions of nukes, only mushroom clouds. I went with the title, Keffels, a case study on internet terrorism and mass media manipulation. This is going to be a cataloging the past year, demonstration of what happens when communities fail to hold their own members responsible, and what comes of the belief that there are no bad tactics, only bad targets.
That's crazy. Isn't this verbatim what him and Dan Saltman said about unleashing like complete warfare upon Twitch for the crime of initially banning Destiny? And then also not banning me, even though Twitch has banned me in the past, but simply not banning me for my coverage on Palestine. Interesting that he's using this.
It's going to be a careful documentation of lies. I'm not running around screen sharing people's nudes. I'm not having secret recordings to be in my apartment. Bro, I'll talk about anything all the time ever. Are we serious?
So then the question stands, did you Lauren Southern?
Scams. Every single person on the internet that is pushing NFTs is just trying to find a bigger sucker. You can basically buy and sell, or you can buy and sell like Twitch clips, and you get an NFT that you can get autographed by the streamer. And you know what? If you buy it, I can go right up here and click autograph, and I can sign whatever NFT you want me to sign. Okay? Threats.
I think one of the funniest copes from Destiny's cult was on the NFT stuff, where I think their defense of that was, well, he just thought it was like a fun, cute thing that people can buy, and it wasn't to actually make money, when originally his argument about NFTs was that if you're going to buy it to make money, then you're stupid. It's like, no, dude, he knew it was a fucking scam, and, he copped the bag anyway. To me, this demonstrates messaging discipline, right? It demonstrates that you have designed your community in a way where you just straightforward have a cult-like attitude where no matter how obviously hypocritical your actions may be, you still have loyal soldiers and servants that will go out and push your message on these issues and are firm and committed believers in whatever you put out there. Like, they are more loyal to, I think, Destiny's ideology, whatever it is at any given moment, whatever he's presenting himself as a believer of, than he himself is, than Destiny himself is. It was troublesome for sure.
Doxing. I literally just doxed that girl. The one that tried to throw egg on me like a week or two ago. I don't give a fuck about like doxing. And an utter lack of accountability.
Molina recently confirmed that the sex tapes leaked by Destiny's former
Jesus Christ.
girl were shared by Destiny without her
Nice,
consent.
good one, nice.
If she has no legal recourse.
And I've got a whole bunch of super chats for you, Wick. Ready?
Okay.
Over the years, I've worried about the types of tactics endorsed by progressive communities. The uncomfortable distorting of narratives. Honestly, I'm pro-genocide. It sounds really shitty, but I think that Israel should just draw its borders about where it is now, and basically Palestinians can go live in another place. That's really shitty, but that's about where I'm at. The grotesque shape-shifting of facts. Let's say there's a person that's 30 years old and tries to randomly sext 14-year-olds and 15-year-olds. I don't think that would be considered grooming. The general inability to hold themselves to a decent standard of behavioral conduct. The rioting needs to stop. And if that means like white redneck militia dudes out there mowing down dipshit protesters that think that they could torch buildings at 10 p.m., then at this point they have my blessing, because holy shit. It is the tale of an internet bully given far too much power.
Did you guys know that if a bitch breaks up with you and you send her nudes to everybody, even that's wrong, guys?
On a mission to seek fame and fortune.
So what's that look like revenue-wise? I think last time you said it was like 50K a month.
It's probably a little bit higher than that now. Yeah.
By building a career through vicious conflict.
Actually kill yourself. Yes, kill yourself.
We've allowed ourselves to gaze into the abyss for far too long.
Destiny
is the result.
On January 8th, 2025, the streamer Destiny's ex-wife Melina accused him of sharing pornographic videos of her without her consent to a 19-year-old young woman over Discord.
Something I can't, like, I'm not gonna go into detail of anything, but there's plenty of people that's wondering this, but I feel like this should be obvious. Nothing has happened with consent with anyone, not me and not anyone else. Like there's been no consent.
On January 21st, 2025, one of Destiny's close friends named Pixie accused him of also sharing pornographic videos of her without her consent. Destiny later revealed that this 19-year-old he had sent these pornographic videos to had allegedly been hacked, leading to these videos being leaked on the internet.
I think a friend of mine's account from that I talked to like 3 or 4 years ago ended up getting compromised, and you know, sometimes you just gotta roll with the memes. It is what it is. What do you want me to say? What do you want me to say? Okay.
Later on that same day of January 21st, one of Destiny's previous close friends named Cherry not only accused Destiny of sharing a recording of them having sex without her consent, but also of recording her without her knowledge. Destiny has since admitted to sharing these sex tapes of Pixie and Melina without their consent. Cherry's allegation is still just an allegation, but she has recently filed a police report against Destiny. This is the story of Stephen Bennell II, a man given far too much power and the ways he has abused this power for his own personal gain. Hi, so this video has been a long...
How is this community still existing in any form after this much? Because it's a community that thrives on conflict. There's a couple different reasons for why. One, there's not really coherent legislation on a lot of the things that happen online, whether it be cyberbullying, cyber stalking, or even sex crimes that happen online. Legislation is just simply not caught up. I guess another is that if you're asking like why his community is not, falling apart over this, I think there are a lot of people who are understandably shaken from this, because it's not like every single person is like super invested in the cult, right? So for many of them, if they had just like encountered Destiny because they saw TikTok clips or something along those lines, they probably hear about this and they go, oh, what the fuck? I had no idea this dude was doing this weird shit, and they're out. There's other people who are like, oh, well, I was just barely scratching the surface of his commentary and I was actually a fan, but I realized that this is like, horrific behavior. But there's still a very sizable chunk of people who just don't care. They're in it for the conflict in and of itself. And it's not necessarily about ideology, no matter how hard his community presents him as a fantastic orator of liberal values. Something that's like very common, commonly shared in terms of like the most invested within the cult is like, I don't watch him for his personal morals. I watch him because he makes great content, or I watch him because he's a great spokesperson for liberal values. Not recognizing the hollowed out nature of your own moral system when you say this person is a fantastic orator of liberalism. For many people, I think they just enjoy the blood sport of it, and they enjoy the community cyber stalking aspect of it. Primarily the reason for why so many fans are like, nah, I don't give a shit, and I like this. And let's see how he will get himself out of this bind. That's usually the attitude that people have, I think. While Destiny is not the most knowledgeable, not the most well-versed on many issues that he speaks on, he does have an endless amount of confidence and carries himself with an incredible amount of confidence. And he is a very skilled orator. He can basically get himself out of a bind by applying a lot of logical fallacies and rhetorical tricks in a way that I think a lot of swagged out white boys respond positively to, especially if they are relatively agoraphobic and don't have a lot going on. It's 4chan culture. Some people just like that edgy humor. That's what they want. That's what they demand. And that's what Destiny gives them.
Collecting evidence about this man Destiny here for about 3 years now, and I don't know about you, but I think it's finally time to take this motherfucker down. Destiny is widely hated by a variety of communities across the internet for a variety of reasons. But no matter how hated Destiny became, he always had a strong army of sycophants that would defend him no matter what he did. However, recently, almost all of his orbiters have abandoned him. Orbiters are what he calls his friends who stream with him. Basically, the implication is that Destiny is this massive planet, and all of his friends are these little planets that orbit around him.
I think it's pretty crazy and obviously very narcissistic, but it's particularly crazy that the orbiters themselves also call themselves orbiters. I remember that's what's so wild about it, where it's like the genuflection. You're stating that your position is lower than this person. I don't know.
This has created an ecosystem where most of Destiny's friends rely on Destiny's success for fame and money. And because most of these people rely on Destiny for money, they've done a remarkably good job at sweeping allegations against Destiny under the rug.
Central Committee, the Greeks had a term for people like D, a sophist. My favorite clip was a debate we had where he didn't know that rich people borrowed money against their stocks and assets. There's a TikTok of it, and it really exposed him for the dumbass he is. I agree, by the way. That is unironically one of the, I think, perfect demonstrations of Destiny being confidently wrong.
So you're right there, you're just wrong. Like if I own $1 billion, do you think, wait a minute.
Why would I borrow against the value of my investment? Can you even do
because
this?
You don't have to pay any taxes on it. That's why. If you borrow against the value of your shares, you never have to pay taxes.
Somebody in chat has to tell me, I'm not going to take his word for it. Somebody in chat, do you borrow against the value of, I know that you can take out a loan, for instance, against your 401k or like a Roth IRA, but those you have to be able to show hardship to do that. You can't just do that willy-nilly.
Yes, you can.
No.
Of course you can.
No, you can't.
And still maintaining this same posture that he is like absolutely in the right, when in fact he is just completely wrong. And he's not only completely wrong, but he's being a fucking douchebag about it. And he's doing it in a way where like his audience obviously is unfamiliar with the subject matter. So they probably respond to Destiny's confidence. They respond positively to his confidence. There have been numerous instances where, you know, Destiny has actually gotten a shit pushed in by people who are more intelligent or at least more knowledgeable. And yet he still, as long as he still maintains this veneer of authority, this veneer of confidence, then plenty of his core fan base still think he's brilliant.
For years. However, these recent allegations against Destiny have been so egregious that the majority of even his most loyal orbiters have decided to leave his orbit. Now, barely anyone is still defending Destiny.
I just saw myself in this fucking collage, dude. Why? Oh my God, why am I in this, bro? These guys also have this this attitude that like everyone that Destiny has encountered ever in his streaming experience is a part of the lore, a part of the Destiny expanded cinematic universe, whether they consent to it or not. I mean, there's been a lot of people in and out of his life, lol. That's what I'm saying. But it's like wild to still act like these people are a part of the lore, or still a part, or even to act like it's lore anyway.
To leave his orbit. Now, barely anyone is still defending Destiny. One person who is still defending Destiny is Myron Gaines from Fresh and Fit, who recently decided to slut-shame Destiny's victims.
Where I go, I feel extremely violated with how so many people saw me non-consensually in a vulnerable position. I feel like people are always going to use this as proof that I slept my way to whatever achievement I garner. I feel like it's evidence that everything would be better with me gone. Well, I hate to be the bearer of bad news, Prixie, but you did sleep your way to the top. You know, you gotta call a spade here.
Even though Myron is an absolutely insane anti-Semitic woman hater who stands for everything that Destiny claims to be against, Destiny says that he has more respect for Myron than for anyone else on the internet.
In all of my years God, this feels so shitty. In all my years doing content, I have more respect for him than any other individual.
Apparently, the amount of respect that Destiny has for you as a person is dependent on how willing you are to suck up to him.
He is the only person that I've seen that will consistently go into areas where there's so much like laughing and jokes and fun times to be had right here if he was shit on me, but he doesn't. He won't do it.
Before we jump into Destiny's actions from across the years, I think I should take a little bit of time to dispel some possible well poisoning that Destiny or his community DGG could try to attack me with. The first accusation they might throw at me is that I'm obsessed with Destiny. This is an accusation they like to throw at anyone who criticizes Destiny. Personally, I don't think it makes me obsessed with Destiny that I've been
I think it's pretty funny to also claim obsession when they run an active cyber stalking operation on virtually every single person, myself included, that Destiny has ever encountered and has felt wronged by. So the idea that like it is actually the victims of the cyber stalking operations that are obsessed with him is so ridiculous, because especially considering this dynamic for approximately 4 or 5 years over the course of the past 6 years, I rarely ever talked about sex pestiny. And the only time that I decided to change that was when he chose to defend Israel unconditionally and came out of the gate swinging by claiming that he was pro-genocide, as shown in the early stages of this video. But yeah, they do this to every single person that they feel has wronged Destiny, including, but not limited to, someone like Ludwig, where they made a 20-minute long documentary about all the times Destiny was cool, because Ludwig, in a single tweet, said that Destiny had bad vibes. And when they failed in convincing him, they shit on him for being friends with me, and they still attack him all the time. I'll give you an example, okay? They'll just start off with like an insane suspicion that normally would be relegated to someone who is hysterical, schizophrenic even. Hasan makes boss calls to Ludwig and actually dominates the entire streaming industry. This is a real conspiracy that they believe in, where Ludwig will make decisions entirely on his own, unbeknownst to me. And these guys will turn around and go, oh, he did this because of Hasan. And they will continue along with that narrative, and they will spread it far and wide. So randomly, underneath any fucking like thirst talk or any kind of like new person being like, oh, I just started watching this Hasan guy, I really like him, you'll see a number of different insane conspiracies dedicated to me, including but not limited to the thing that I was mentioning. Hasan actually got really upset and offended at Ludwig, and he made a call to make Ludwig delete a part of his video or delete his video in its entirety. I don't even remember. They literally have spreadsheets. They have dedicated websites to compiling all of this false information, and they have spreadsheets with clips that are clipped out of context to run the gamut whenever there is an opportunity. Members of his community have also doctored images from this chat, created websites with doctored images from this chat. I mean, as recently as a month or so ago, his community literally compiled every single chat message in this chat and claimed that like the moderators were not doing a good job, and myself were not doing a good job banning people for anti-Semitism. And they thought that they could take it all the way up to Tom Cotton to the Senate to do a congressional hearing on a public Twitch stream and its moderation practices. How unimaginably invested are you in Twitch streaming that you think normal politicians are going to get about, like they're going to talk about like the moderation of one particular community where anyone can talk at any given moment, and there's 30,000 different voices that are chiming in here from all different backgrounds. Not every single person is a fan of mine, for example. Like, that is delusion, pure and utter delusion. In the grand scheme of things, I am a nobody, okay? I'm nothing. The idea that I have this awesome amount of power is something that a lot of these people have inflated in their own heads. This is their own personal estimation, and I think they're wrong.
Him for the purpose of criticizing him. None of Destiny's fans accused me of being obsessed with Sneeko when I did a deep dive into Sneeko's harmful actions because they don't like Sneeko. But they probably will accuse me of being obsessed with Destiny because Destiny is their daddy. This is the first video I've ever made about Destiny, and it'll probably be about an hour and a half long. Compare that to the probably hundreds of hours that Destiny has spent on his stream criticizing Hasan. Hasan. And I have nothing against Destiny criticizing Hasan, it would just be pretty hypocritical to accuse me of being obsessed with Destiny for making 1 hour-and-a-half long video about him, while Destiny has talked about Hasan for hundreds of hours. Destiny has written multiple incredibly long manifestos.
That's the other thing that, like, I just truly don't understand. It's the easiest thing to show. I have, like, what, 4 or 5 total videos? You know, since I cut ties, I think a total of 6 videos in the last year, in the last 2 years, maximum. He has made 6 probably, you know, in a week. I don't understand how this is in any way, shape, or form not an, you know, it's not ringing any alarm bells for all these people that are in this cult. But yeah, as someone that I read the comments from that was like a former Destiny community member, he has so thoroughly poisoned the well for someone like myself that there is no world in which his community, even if they hate him now, will ever turn around and go, maybe I was a little deluded about the way I feel about this random dude.
Criticizing creators like Vosh, Keffels, and Bob7, who Destiny believes have wronged him over the years. Although I find the label of manifesto a bit cringe, I see nothing inherently wrong with Destiny writing manifestos to chronicle the bad behaviors of these creators. So, in the same way, I guess this will be my manifesto against Destiny. And if you have an issue with me making this manifesto, I hope you will stay logically consistent and also criticize Destiny for making manifestos about Vosh, Keffels, and Bob7. If I had to predict how Destiny himself would respond to this video, he would probably respond with something similar to this tweet that he tweeted at me a couple years ago. You're hopping into a bandwagon of people accusing me of being a rape apologist because you're still upset that I bullied you off the internet a year ago. Don't play stupid. You know exactly what you're doing. To be honest, Destiny isn't 100% wrong here. I am jumping onto a bandwagon of people criticizing him, but I don't think that's an inherently bad thing to do. Destiny jumps onto bandwagons of people criticizing Hasan all the time. When Ethan Klein makes videos attacking Hasan, Destiny jumps onto the bandwagon. So when a bunch of people on the internet are criticizing Destiny right now for sharing women's sex tapes without their consent, hell yeah, I'm gonna jump.
I do feel like this is very devoid of any sort of real politics as well. Like Ethan criticizing Hasan and Destiny jumping on the bandwagon is kind of wild because, you know, what was Ethan criticizing me over? Wild.
To the bandwagon and roast the shit out of him. With the way the internet works, criticisms against someone are more likely to stick when that person is actively engaged in a controversy. This is just how the internet is. So yes, I waited to make this video until you were in a possibly career-ending controversy because I knew that this would make more people listen to my criticism against you. Do you have a problem with that? You know how the internet works, Destiny.
Anybody who hates you, even if he doesn't like them, he will ride off into the he will ride them into the sunset. I mean, yeah. I mean, he literally did that with Sam Hyde, Nick Fuentes, numerous far-right figures. It's not like a secret. He then also lied actively about not knowing that Sam Hyde was a neo-Nazi. And then we found out that he had actually, a couple months prior, talked about how, you know, Sam Hyde definitely was a neo-Nazi, including the reasons as to why he thought he was a neo-Nazi. But of course, when the opportunity presented itself for him to, you know, collaborate with Sam Hyde, platform him, elevate him, and talk about how funny he is as a comedian or whatever, you know, he forgot, I guess.
Jump onto bandwagons of criticizing people who are in controversies all the time. But now that the shoe's on the other foot, you're mad about it.
All the other shit from all the other vultures and all the other communities that are like coming in trying to like make drama out of this, that don't give a about any victims or any people involved, which is the majority of people.
That's crazy that, I mean, it's pure projection, I think. Yeah, everyone is just trying to make drama out of this and don't care about the victims at all. And also, I mean, that's literally what Destiny has done his entire career. That's how he built an audience that's so unimaginably toxic.
The fact that Destiny and his community have bullied me in the past probably is a factor in why I chose to make this video. And I would argue that the treatment that Destiny received from creators like Vosh and Keffels is one of the reasons he made manifestos against them. As much as I might want to, I am a human being and I can't fully separate myself from my own personal biases. And the fact that I have been bullied by Destiny and his community in the past does probably make me somewhat biased against them. If you feel like my personal bias against Destiny means that I'm not the right person to make this video, I respect that opinion and I encourage you to go watch a different YouTube video. But in this video, I'm going to try my absolute best to be as unbiased as possible and stick to the facts as much as possible. I am going to try my best to not view Destiny in bad faith, because I think even if you view him in good faith, he's still a piece of shit. I do feel like one of Destiny's tactics from across the years is to be incredibly mean to anyone he has a conflict with. So when that person eventually decides to make a video criticizing him, he can just write that person off as obsessive and just mad because he bullied them.
As a supporter of yours, I'd appreciate if you address some of the points made in the Britney video. She seemed to be pretty fair, especially in her conclusions. I don't have time to address every deranged, obsessive video that's made about me. I still haven't watched the Britney video.
Yeah. It's weird because he's done like 1,000 of these about me. And back in the day, every single time a new one would come out, his community would storm mine to just be like, dude, why are you avoiding these like obvious criticisms that you must address immediately? Especially when this person was directly involved with Sex Pastini. Like directly, they were friends. And he was directly wronged as far as I understand. In terms of Ethan, because you can make a similar argument on that front. I have already addressed every single criticism that has been launched in my direction, both from Ethan, who basically rehashed all of his manic moments from the past 6 or 7 months. But not only that, but I had already addressed them a million times over prior, because these are not unique or original claims. They were directly plagiarized from the Sex Pastini community.
The last criticism that Destiny and his community might make against this video is that I'm bringing up a bunch of old news that Destiny has already addressed. While that might be the case for some of the things I talk about in this video is not—
Chuck Dies, thank you for the 25, get the subs.
Being made for Destiny's community. I'm making this video for the broader internet, and the majority of the broader internet doesn't know about all of these past controversies that you might consider old news. Contrary to what you guys might believe, the entire world does not orbit around Destiny. If Destiny is going to be interviewing potential presidential candidates like Marianne Williamson, then I think the broader political community deserves to know about Destiny's past actions. Destiny has said before that he has nothing to hide, and people can't—
It's actually truly shocking that it has taken this long for enough people to come out and be like, this is it, I'm done, I've been wronged too severely by this person, because he has left behind a trail of corpses throughout his career. Just people that he has so consistently wronged over and over again, who he still actually will routinely take shots at when the opportunity presents itself. His community considers this burning bridges. They consider it to be content. And the only thing that I think has kind of kept a lot of people from coming out and being like, dude, what the fuck are you doing? Is his active community of defenders who will engage in, sometimes, dare I say, sophisticated smear campaigns against everyone that has any sort of critical opinion over this man. And he's been able to keep this together by actively gaslighting his audience and maintaining the presence that he's doing this for some higher liberal purpose. And some people, I think, believe it. Some people, I think, recognize that as a true thing. There have been instances of physical harassment that Frogan has withstood. There have been instances of even someone physically coming up to me in the real world as well at the DNC. If you recall, the I'm shaking moment from the dude who was in the Destiny Discord, the Diddy G person that we found out was quite racist, as a matter of fact. He came up to me while I was live streaming at the DNC and said, Destiny made you, and then ran away instantly before I could even comprehend what was going on. We later found out that he was actually fantasizing about what to say to me, and that he was openly talking about how he was shaking. Hasan is right there, I'm shaking, is the thing that he said. And Destiny rewards that kind of behavior with admiration and recognition. That is the other side of this. He retweets when those things go viral. I think that's a very dangerous game to play, because you never know what some of your most loyal fans are capable of doing. So if you play fast and loose with urging them into taking direct action in the real world, that is extremely dangerous for other content creators, and perhaps maybe even dangerous for yourself. There will be legal repercussions if they actually do something insane.
When someone else was trying to expose Destiny for his bad behavior, he sent these messages to his chat. So if he wants to expose me, that's fine. Let him expose. But he needs to post receipts instead of just vaguely alluding to shit. There's literally nothing anyone could have on me for anything because I don't do anything bad/weird. I am the cleanest motherfucker in this entire scene. The worst anyone could ever have on me is dick pics or something. He can talk about whatever he wants, but he should provide proof, not just baseless accusations/speculation.
That's a wild statement. I'm the cleanest motherfucker in this industry is a wild statement.
Alright, Destiny. In this video, I will provide plenty of proof and receipts to back up everything that I accuse you of. If what you said in these messages is true, then you should have absolutely no issue with me lying out everything that you've done over the years on the table. Are we on the same page? Great. Honestly, I feel like the fact that I feel the need to lay out all these preambles and pretext and shoot down possible criticisms before they make them should show you that Destiny's community have become masters at deflecting.
Yeah, I'm not in a cult, says man who's clearly in a cult. It is cultish. I mean, down to the sex crimes. You can't have a cult without having at least some semblance of sex crimes. And now that we know, then there are receipts for that as well. It seemingly is the full thing.
My goal in this video is not to push some sort of political agenda against Destiny. I actually think he is a very smart dude who's one of the best debaters on the internet and one of the best people at using logic to defend liberal values. I debated Destiny a couple times a few years ago and he definitely wiped the floor with me, especially in our second debate. I have no shame in admitting that. Destiny is definitely...
He's the best at defending liberal values. I guess if you see it as a pejorative, that's a, like, what, liberal values, like what? Defending Israel's genocide? Like, what are we talking about? Liberal values such as defending Kyle Rittenhouse? Liberal values such as, you know, the video... The things that you showed in the beginning of the video, which are what, like defending CP, defending sexual assault, victim blaming, none of these are liberal values. The reality of the matter is Destiny is a debate mercenary. He has no values. He oftentimes will say he's sociopathic. He'll say he's an egoist. He'll use anything and everything he can to make it seem as though he has convictions that can change when he encounters new information. But in many instances, he's just in it for the spirit of debate. A pure sophist. You are, Central Committee is correct.
Definitely a better debater than I am. Even if I disagree with a lot of his opinions because I'm a leftist, I can still recognize that he's done a great job dunking on a bunch of dumbass conservatives. But
okay, that part okay, never mind. I don't disagree with that. Yes, he is very good at going after lowest common denominator conservatives in the only instance where he's actually gone after a conservative that is also a successful orator, Ben Shapiro. He just sat there like a little puppy and agreed on so much. So much so that even Lex Fridman said, wow, it sure seems strange that you guys agree on a lot more than you disagree on. So yeah, going on Sigma Grindset podcast and like shitting on dudes who think that women should be in the kitchen is, yeah, it's basically one step elevated from what Steven Crowder does. But whenever Destiny actually encounters someone who is more knowledgeable on a particular matter than he is, like an academic, for example, he will have to resort to as many rhetorical tools as possible in an effort to destabilize the conversation, keep his interlocutor on the back foot, and keep him consistently defending ridiculous positions to the best of his ability by claiming that he is simply testing their moral boundaries. He famously said that he has not real positions because that means he has to actually defend it. He likes to be on offense and assume the positions of Socratic questioner and try to find a gap in a person's knowledge so he can appear to be right. But if you examine his work, he doesn't actually have a consistent set of values. Yeah, he does not. That's why there's accounts like, Destiny versus Destiny, where you can find older clips of Destiny defending a position and then immediately dunking on said position a couple of years later. It's not that he actually got new information and did his research, even though he claims that that is the case. It's because he's decided that he wants to defend that position now because it's a more fortuitous position for him or sometimes a more edgy position for him. And that will garner him more attention and more love.
People are like, hey, your chat has been spamming a ton of like really hateful shit. And like every YouTuber's like, wait, what? My chat? I had no idea. I'm just now hearing about this. I had no idea. It's like, bro, come on. Really?
Ethan Klein, if you want to have a conversation with me, I am available. I can talk to you about any number of different political disagreements that we have, except this time I'm not going to be nice to you. Okay? I'm not going to treat you with kitty gloves. They're saying they were hate watching. Yeah, that's the other thing. They currently are probably doing this right now as well. Destiny's website literally has a dedicated hate watching corner for every moment that he's not live. They'll just have my stream up or any number of different consistent rotating villains in his community. People that want nothing to do with him or his fans. They just sit there and hope that I kill myself, which is hilarious because, you know, I think I'm doing pretty good. I'm not going to talk to you like you're a special boy who deserves my special attention and that you're so funny and so special. I'm going to talk to you in the same exact way that I would to an actual political content creator. If there is a absolute subhuman savage commentator out there who was expressing your viewpoint about Israel, I'm going to talk to you in the same exact way that I would. Please, God, I'm begging you, kill Hasan. Please, please, please. This level of vitriol I don't have for anyone, including Destiny. And that motherfucker has done so much over the course of the past 5 years. And I still don't want this. I want him to get better as well. I want him to just leave me alone, really. I want him to leave other people that are in my vicinity alone as well. It's kind of crazy that these guys who have never met me ever in their entire lives have this strong of an opinion on someone who they claim to align with politically as well. That's the other side of the story, because these guys also personally, they personally consider themselves to be progressives. They consider themselves to be liberals. Like, the only group of individuals that I've seen this level of vitriol from, that I've received this level of hatred from, are neo-Nazis online, and I get why they feel that way about me, but it's just no different than the unhealthy obsessions that you see in any other stan group. I just will never understand being this level of parasocial for a dude who just like is super toxic and tries to humiliate every single person that he talks to and is very confidently incorrect regularly. So when you also repeat those statements that you hear from him and you regurgitate that, you also end up becoming confidently incorrect, or just overall a toxic person to be around that people in the real world are not going to want to be around at all, because you constantly find yourself debating them on minutia. Them, okay? So if you think that I'm afraid of you, I think you and I both know that that's not the case. I think you and I both know that there's a reason why, despite the fact that you and I have very similar enemies, some of which you've turned into your friends, even after they got, you know, unfortunately they got out. I have. Hopefully his plane back home crashes. That's funny. Very similar enemies, some of which you've turned into your friends, even after they got, you know, unfortunately they got out of the sex pest. But don't try to pull a Sam Cedar on me. Guess you can't really do that with Destiny now, can you? Since, you know, it was outed as a sex pest. It's got to sting a little bit.
As a content creator, you have a huge ability to sculpt and shape how your community acts. If your chat is like wall to wall, like these people, these, like, that's behavior that's coming from the top down. And if you're not like taking steps to do anything about it, you're not addressing it at all, you're basically co-signing it.
But I mean, this is loyalty. This person was banned in 11/10/2023, and that person is still watching, hate watching, and demanding I kill myself. I think between you and I, one of us is closer to suicide than the other. And I don't think it's me. Like, if that's the kind of behavior that you're engaging in on a regular basis, you don't have a lot going on in your life. I would recommend you get help as fast as possible and you try to snap out of it. Please. Like, it's just projection.
Like Destiny said in his manifesto against Keffals, I don't think we should be afraid to hold members of our own community accountable.
Demonstration of what happens when communities fail to hold their own members responsible.
And Destiny has done a lot of up shit that I think he needs to be held accountable for. Just because he's a good debater who's really good at defending the liberal ideology, I don't think that means that we should sweep his bad behavior under the rug.
And I don't understand how Steven can really say that he wants to be a serious political advocate if he doesn't want to manage his personal life in any way that's serious. Like, why should the DNC involve you in anything that they want when your personal life looks like a fucking train wreck that's going to be bad PR for all of them? Why should anyone want to spend time debating you on these bigger platforms if all you're going to do is bring fucking tarnishing their reputation, right? It's like, if you're serious about this, you should make this sacrifice. And if you can't, then I don't think you really care about the political positions that you claim to care about.
My goal in this video is to simply lay out all of his actions from across the years that I consider harmful and allow you to come to your own conclusions. All right? Let's get into it. In this video, I hope to establish a pattern of how Destiny over the course of his career has repeatedly taken advantage of and harmed women and occasionally children, and how he has advocated for a world that makes it easier for people like him to harm women and children. We'll start by going through Destiny's harmful behavior towards women, then we'll take a detour to his harmful behavior towards children, and then we'll loop back around to his harmful behavior towards women again. Sound good? Well, it's not going to be. Around the end of 2011, Destiny sexually assaulted a woman on his live stream. I'm not using the word allegedly here because we have video of him doing it, and he has openly admitted that it was sexual assault.
I would say that in my streaming career in the past, like totally publicly, like I completely and totally like sexually assaulted a girl on stream before for like 5 minutes or whatever. I got super drunk and was like grabbing her breast the entire time.
Later, Destiny has attempted to downplay his actions here by tweeting, "I was drunk off my ass, literally for the first time in my life." And he said that at the time, he didn't understand how bad it was, but now, looking back years later, he understands that it was reprehensible behavior.
And at the time, I figured like, oh, well, you know, we're gonna anyway, like it doesn't matter, like she's chill or whatever, like I'm drunk, it doesn't matter. Like at the time, I'm thinking like, you know, oh, it's not a big deal. But like looking back, I'm like, okay, wait, this is like really, really, really reprehensible behavior.
But if you go back and watch the clip, immediately after assaulting her, he says, "Listen, I'm gonna apologize to you so much tomorrow."
Listen, I'm gonna apologize
Yeah,
to you
say sorry.
so much tomorrow.
Why would you need to apologize to her tomorrow, Destiny? Is it maybe because you understood that what you were doing was wrong? To me, this shows that even in his incredibly drunk state, he knew that what he was doing is wrong. And obviously, being drunk does not absolve you of your actions. Otherwise, we wouldn't criminalize drunk driving.
You've come here to this stream to defend drunk drivers to me.
This is a common tactic with Destiny where he'll half take accountability for something, but half try to downplay it by saying, "Oh, I was so drunk at the time. Oh, I didn't understand how bad it was at the time." But I'm calling bullshit. You understood that what you were doing was bad, even back when you did it, because you were an adult, not a baby. According to this woman, Destiny has never directly apologized to her, even though she would like him to. She acknowledges that he has indirectly apologized on his stream, but my question is, did he apologize?
I would bet anything if you DM'd him to come on stream, he would bring you on to talk about it. Dude, it's like, this is what I mean in terms of like his fan base and the way that they operate. Like everything's content. It's like, oh, just come on the stream. Come on the stream. And he'll apologize for it publicly. Would love an apology. I don't think he ever will, but everyone that is there, hell, even the stream viewers could see we didn't make him drink. We were all drinking, and it wasn't a pass to grab anyone on live stream. The whole trip was odd. He has apologized in streams and such indirectly. It's fine. I know he regrets it. It's just crazy. It's like, hey, come here, debate him about whether or not your sexual assault was that bad. You know, it's ridiculous. Weren't you just saying that about talking with Ethan? My friend, one, I have privately reached out to him. Number two, Ethan has spent the past 6 months basically turning what I suspect are political disagreements into an entirely different campaign of trying to get me deplatformed. I didn't sexually harass him. How are these two things remotely in the same territory?
In 2012, Destiny shared private nudes of a woman he had been sexting named Blue Tea with his friends. Destiny will often claim that the reason for his actions are because he was provoked into doing them and he had no other choice.
I'm kind of being pushed into playing my entire hand.
But here, there was no provocation. He just thought it would be funny to share this woman's private nudes with his friends and joke about how hideous her face is compared to her beautiful body. And he also insulted her because he thought she looked like Shrek. So he shared a woman's private nudes without consent for the purpose of degrading her. In response, Blue Tea hacked Destiny's Twitter and tweeted out pictures of his dick. Obviously, I condemn this woman's actions. She posted revenge porn of Destiny, which is never justified. But don't forget that the situation that provoked this was Destiny maliciously sharing her nudes without her consent. On Reddit, Destiny replied to her by saying, "I can't imagine how you can think that people will never, ever, ever talk about anything personal or private amongst their friends. Maybe I'm just stupid, but I can't see myself caring at all if you shared pictures between your close friends, especially given the fact that I'd never see any of them in real life." So, in this comment, Destiny is admitting that he did send the nudes without consent, and he's attempting to downplay his actions. A couple years later, when one of Destiny's friends named Bob7 allegedly shared a woman's nudes without her consent, Destiny said that this should be life-destroying.
Bob7 shared nude photographs of multiple women after pressuring one to post one without their consent.
But I do believe that these are relatively life-destroying revelations.
But when Destiny does it, he justifies it by saying that he wouldn't care if someone did it to him.
I said this earlier today. Was it a Palestinian? I thank you for everything you do. It matters a lot. I try my best.
This is known as the personal preference fallacy, arguing that something isn't wrong simply because you wouldn't.
Why are you not watching the video? Will you watch with him? Are you going to delete people questioning you? Considering that I literally unbanned you in spite of your hysterics, I think you should be a little bit more charitable. Number two, I already said it. If Ethan Klein has any sort of issues with me, he can take it up with me directly. As I've said, we can have that conversation face to face if he chooses to do so. But it doesn't seem like he wants to do that. It seems like he desperately wants me to watch his YouTube video. He's so proud of it. I'm down. I think there is something above simply watching a YouTube video of things that I have addressed a million times over. Speaking of censoriousness, okay, speaking of censorship, I mean, Ethan is literally deleting every critical comment under his fucking YouTube video. Mr. Comments are hidden on this video. Mr. I'm banning paid members on the live stream because they dare to question me, as his fans being like, you're engaging in censorship. At least this time on the content nuke that he put together after 6 months, even though all that came out was just a dud after all of that work. The thing that he decided to do was delete comments before they got any sort of motion whatsoever.
Care if it was personally done to you. Even if Destiny wouldn't care if someone shared his nudes, which I doubt, that doesn't make it okay for him to do it to someone else. And a couple years later, Destiny demonstrates that he knows that sharing nudes is wrong by laughing at this clip of someone explaining how it's wrong.
The guy sent the nudes to like his buddy, and the buddy sent it to the other buddy,
Fedmeister.
and it just like the whole school had her nudes.
Wow.
Right?
That's cray.
That in and of itself is another example of like violating consent. That even though, for so long we were trained to be like, oh, consent has to do with like, like sex.
Did you guys know that if a bitch breaks up with you and you send her nudes to everybody, even that's wrong, guys?
Him laughing like this is him sarcastically showing that he obviously understands it's wrong. So I think even back when Destiny did this, he understood that it was wrong. He's just pretending like he didn't understand that it was wrong to avoid taking accountability for his actions. Destiny has a long history of really not liking when women post about their negative sexual experiences online. Real talk, opening up about quote-unquote your rape and shit on Twitter is incredibly weird and should never have been normalized. I have no idea why the people encourage others to trauma dump on social media. It's insanely unhealthy. This was in response to a woman sharing an allegation about how she was stealthed. This controversy started because Destiny had retweeted someone who tweeted, "If you knew he took off the condom and you couldn't even bring yourself to say anything, you shouldn't be having casual sex." A bunch of people got mad at Destiny for retweeting this, so then he tweeted, "If you are noticing someone is taking a condom off and you can't say anything, you probably don't have the emotional maturity to engage in sex. You should probably just grab a caretaker or something and stick to masturbating to furry porn. Sorry." People got even more mad at this tweet, so then he tweeted, "Sorry, I want to apologize for my last tweet. You should treat every single woman you come across like a child who's incapable of voicing an opinion about literally anything. Ideally, you would bring her dad along to every so he can guide her through the process." First of all, she did clearly assert her boundaries before sex. She just struggled to reassert her boundaries when this man started raping her because this made her so uncomfortable. But rather than show empathy for women who struggle to tell men to stop because they're so terrified while they're being raped, Destiny decides to insult these women's emotional maturity and call them retarded children. According to a neuroscience article in the journal Nature Human Behavior, victims frequently report immobility during rape and sexual assault, often using the term freezing. Neuroscientific evidence suggests fear and threat can block cortical neural circuits for action control, leading to involuntary immobility. And this sort of immobility can manifest as physical immobility or verbal immobility. When the streamer Hans of Harkir brings up the fact that these women could be having a freeze response when they experience stealthing, Destiny disregards this and says that a victim couldn't possibly have a freeze response just from seeing a man take his condom off.
Freeze up is some shit where you're like in a traumatic situation and somebody's doing some crazy shit. Not like you look down and you see that some asshole is trying to slip a condom off. Like, oh, I'm frozen up. I can't think. I don't take the condom off. I'm completely frozen. Bro, what the kind of 14-year-olds are you
No, are you serious?
But according to a 2010 study titled Facing Freeze, Social Threat-Induced Bodily Freeze in Humans, even negative social interactions can trigger a psychological freeze response in some people. The way that Destiny chooses to mock these women who claim that they do have a freeze response while being stealthed is just really f***ing gross. I don't know what else to say.
Oh, I'm frozen out. I can't think. I don't take the condom off. I'm completely frozen.
I think this is from the person who is the retarded child. They said, I've actually been raped, and saying no just made him rape me harder. I know that's what happened after he pulled out. This is not incomprehensible that I would just walk away from that situation.
It sounds like she needs to stop having casual sex.
To be clear, I don't think that Destiny is saying it's okay to stealth people, but I do think he is choosing to mock women for something that is outside of their control. Let's talk about the time that Destiny tweeted that he hopes a woman is raped to death with a shovel. In 2015, the porn star Stoya tweeted allegations that the male porn star James Dean had raped her. This tweet really upset Destiny because, as we've established, he really does not like it when women talk about their negative sexual experiences online. Jesus, why not file a police report instead of tweeting this? You're disgusting. What a idiot at Stoya. Stephen Bennell, why don't you write us a long list of everything you feel a survivor of rape should do? Then I'll use it to wipe my ass. Survivor of rape. It's rape, not murder, not beheading, not a fatal car crash. Everyone survives rape. Get over it.
What's really interesting about this also is that this community has routinely relied on radfems to haunt my ass, basically, by bringing up and falsely claiming that I went to a brothel that was charged with like sex trafficking. They'll just like regularly lie about insane shit. They'll always use that clip where I'm talking about the anti-woke pro college that Republicans send their daughters and sons to, saying that if these guys want to voluntarily go to the school, it's better to just keep them contained at the pro school rather than have them run rampant on every college campus, claiming that that is me saying Hasan wants rich women to be victims of rape. And people see those things and not realize that it's coming from the community helmed by this fucking asshole. It's so easy to manipulate large groups of people and get them to be on board with a cause. It's crazy without anyone ever doing like their due diligence.
Yourself. Survivor of rape here. Hello. Want to talk about how hard it is to go on every day? Kill yourself so you don't have to live with the pain. So rape survivors should just get over it because at least they didn't die. And if they're dealing with a lot of pain or trauma because of their rape, they should just kill themselves because if they kill themselves, the pain will stop. Very cool, Steven. I have no idea why anyone has ever accused you of being a rape apologist. This should go without saying, but obviously it's good for rape survivors to file police reports to hold rapists accountable, but police reports don't always lead to rapists being held accountable for their actions, which is why sometimes it's good to post about it on social media. At least Destiny will be happy that the woman he allegedly recorded while they were having sex without her knowledge did file a police report against Destiny. Good job, Cherry. You have done things in the Destiny-approved way. Right after this, Destiny got into an argument with another woman about how James Dean didn't respect Stoya's safe word.
How does this slug still have an audience is such a funny question to ask, because there are a lot of people who agree with him. There are a lot of people who just have really awful perspectives. That's it. I don't know how else to describe this process.
Ignoring a safe word and not stopping when someone asks is ignoring consent and is rape. Go f yourself. Kill yourself, you cunt. I hope you get raped with a f***ing shovel until you bleed out your vag and die. Holy. This right here is probably the most violent, vitriolic language that I have ever seen Destiny use in his entire career on the internet. And it just so happens to be in response to women talking about their negative sexual experiences. My question after seeing all of this is, why does Destiny have such an intense hatred for women talking about their negative sexual experiences on the internet? Is it because he just cares so much about these women and he doesn't want them to harm their own mental health because trauma dumping on the internet can be really damaging for them? Or is it maybe because a culture where women feel comfortable coming forth with allegations on the internet can lead to women like Pixie and Cherry and Melina coming forth with allegations against people like Destiny, exposing them for being massive pieces of shit? I will again allow you to answer that question for yourself. We'll get back to Destiny treating women like shit a little bit later on, but now let's pivot to Destiny harming children. For some strange reason, a lot of people like to label Destiny here a file. So in the next section, we'll get to the bottom of whether or not Mr. Bunnell here really is a certified EDP 445. Is Destiny really a pedo, or are these just false, slanderous allegations meant to try to dethrone the debate bro king? Let's find out. In 2012, when Destiny was 23, he shared in a group chat with a couple of his friends the messages, "You want to see the sickest shit in the world? So many fangirls. I had one that was 15. She wanted to meet and hook up. Dude, she's 15. What the f? But she sent me pictures that made it so hard to say no." Then Destiny linked a picture of this girl in a bikini in the chat and said, "Girl on the left, so hard to say no. Gonna get arrested one of these MLGs, man." So in these logs, when Destiny was 23, he said that it was really hard to turn down hooking up with this 15-year-old because she looked so good.
I've covered a bunch of this stuff as well in the past, so it's not like that shocking, I guess. Some of you have probably heard me cover this stuff recently, but it is like this dude has been a menace for a decade plus. A decade plus.
In this picture of her in a bikini. He then shared this lewd image of a child with his friends and said that he's gonna get arrested someday. Well, like I said, a woman just filed a police report against Destiny, so we'll just have to wait and see if his prediction comes true. A couple years later, in 2015, when Destiny was 26, he shared in his chat, "I would f the shit out of that 15-year-old, what the f? There's no way that chick is 15. So now we've seen two separate occasions where Destiny says that he's attracted to 15-year-olds. Ironically, this conversation where he's sharing a picture of a 15-year-old in a bikini with his friends is the exact same conversation where he also shared that other woman's nudes without her consent. Sharing non-consensual nudes and sharing a picture of a child in a bikini in one conversation? What a certified Destiny moment. This is what we in the business call a Diddy-stiny party. A common defense that Destiny fans will give when he says that he wants to have sex with children is that he's just joking. For example, these tweets where he says, "You were hot at 10? Any pics? Check DMs. Jesus, I've never wanted to bend someone over the hood of their little tyke so bad." I do think these tweets are
Why won't the DNC take me seriously?
Jokes, very strange jokes, but I don't think that him saying he wanted to hook up with this 15-year-old was a joke. You know that classic prank where you send your friends pictures of kids in bikinis and say how hot you find them as a joke? And to help prove that this wasn't a joke, here are some clips of Destiny doubling down on his attraction to this 15-year-old in a debate with someone named Mr. Medicare.
Of course, of this chat log, I was talking with a bunch of other esports guys, and we were basically talking about how crazy the jailbait is in the gaming communities. It's ridiculous. I think I said something along the lines of like, there are 15-year-old chicks that are like hot as that will like try to send you pictures to like you at events and shit, and it's like you have to be really careful when you navigate that.
So what is the admitting to jerking off to 15-year-olds then? What is that in relation to?
I never admitted to jerking off. I think I just said like this, I think the log is something like this 15-year-old chick was trying to send me, or was sending me pictures of herself and she was hot as it's like really hard to like turn down some of these people. I think
Wait, how old was she?
She said she was 15.
So you did get pictures from a 15-year-old?
Not nudes though. Sorry, I should specify. I think a couple pics of her like at the beach or some shit. But
in swimwear?
Yeah.
So you're getting swimwear pics from 15-year-olds?
Yeah, hell yeah, dude. This shit is crazy. Shit is fun.
So in these clips, he says that some 15-year-olds are hot as and he admits to sharing a picture of this 15-year-old in a bikini to his friends. So is Destiny a pedophile? Well, he admitted that he finds some 15-year-olds hot as and he sent his...
Well, his response to this would be, actually, it's a phebophilia. Philia is being sexually attracted to a different type of minor, an even younger minor, which, you know, problematic for obvious reasons.
His friends a picture of a 15-year-old in a bikini because he found her so attractive. A lot of arguments with Destiny about pedophilia end up getting wrapped up in semantic debates about labels instead of focusing on the facts of the matter. If you call Destiny a pedo for being attracted to a 15-year-old, he'll launch into a tirade about how, pedophilia is the attraction to prepubescent children and 15-year-olds are post-pubescent. So therefore, by calling me a pedo, Oh, you have slandered me. So then you go, okay, I guess you're not a pedophile, you're an ephebophile, because ephebophilia is the attraction to teenagers aged 15 to 19. So then he'll go, no, ephebophilia is the primary attraction to mid to late adolescents. I'm mostly attracted to adults. I'm just a little bit attracted to children.
There are 15-year-old chicks that are like hot as
So therefore, I am not an ephebophile, and you have slandered me yet again. Also, there's nothing inherently wrong with ephebophilia, because 18-year-olds and 19-year-olds fall under the category of ephebophilia, and there's nothing wrong with being attracted to adults, so your normative position condemning ephebophilia in its entirety is already a flawed premise. And even if I was a pedophile, there's nothing wrong with being attracted to children. It's only bad if you act on that attraction. So therefore, you have slandered me in countless ways, and my community will now harass you for years. See how you've now had an exhaustive
masterclass on how Destiny and his community operate on literally this issue. To me, I think ephebophilia is basically a substitute term where you're just saying like, no, you don't understand. I want to fuckable minors is what you're saying. So you still think like some minors are got it. That's still weird, dog. You're a weirdo.
As far as we know, I don't think Destiny falls under the clinical definition of pedophile, but the colloquial definition of pedophile is someone who is attracted to children, and Destiny is at least somewhat attracted to children.
There are some 15, 16-year-old chicks that like look pretty hot. Like I can't help that. Like some people mature older.
Destiny defended another streamer who got exposed for having sex with a 14-year-old by saying, even if he did bang a 14-year-old, no, that's not what pedophile means. Go look it up. Seriously, if you don't understand the difference between being attracted to someone that happens to be young and being attracted...
He's such a meme of libertarianism too. It is kind of crazy that so many people just hear all of this and still kind of go, nah, that's my goat. Go look it up. It's actually ephebophilia.
Someone because they are young, you have absolutely no business whatsoever commenting on the issue, period. It makes you look uneducated. I really want to see someone use this argument and...
You said he has no convictions, but this is probably one principal conviction that he's never wavered on. Okay, fair. It seems like he does actually have a somewhat consistent attitude on this issue for the past 15 years.
Court, Your Honor, I didn't have sex with that baby because I'm attracted to babies. I had sex with that baby because it just so happened to be a really hot baby. Most babies are not hot.
That and saying the N-word. That's true.
But every once in a while, one of those extra special babies rolls their stroller on past my goon cave, and I just can't help myself. But this does not make me a pedophile. You look really uneducated right now. You know what, Destiny? You can feel free to have your pedantic definition of pedophile that only applies to being specifically attracted to prepubescent children because of the fact that they are prepubescent. And I can say that I think you are a freak for saying as a 26-year-old that some 15-year-olds are hot as and for as a 23-year-old sharing around a picture of a 15-year-old in a bikini. Deal? The next child-related Destiny incident is when him and his friends, the Bro Squad, watched an 8-year-old boy shake his penis for them on a live stream.
I shouldn't tell this because I'm gonna get arrested. Or Child Protective Services. I used to be part of this horrible thing called the Bro Squad, okay? Me, if you remember that Cheeks bitch, and a couple other people that have never been on my stream before, we're part of the Bro Squad, and what we would do is we would go around Justin TV streams, trolling the shit out of these people. And we went around from
Man, that's such a funny troll, dude. That's crazy.
channel to channel, like around. Like it was just horrible shit. We went to this channel with this kid was like 8 years old, and he was broing out with everybody in this chat. And for whatever fucking reason, this kid decides to take his pants off and wiggle his 8-year-old dick on stream. I can't even believe it. Oh my God. It was like, I didn't even know, like, we were on...
Dude, epic troll, man. Epic troll, sir. Epsteiny.
Guy, we were like, holy shit. Like, we had to do like a double take because we didn't even fucking know, like, what the was on. Like, we were looking at like an 8-year-old dick, like, on the fucking screen. And his brother, we called him Captain Push-Ups, would like come in the room. And this guy was like 14 years old. He had his shirt off and he was like this. Like watching this stream the entire time and shit. Oh my god.
As far as what Destiny says in this clip, they didn't ask the child to pull his pants down, but I still think it's very bad that him and his bro squad didn't immediately click off of this live stream the second that this child exposed himself. If a child exposes themselves to you, I think you have a moral responsibility to immediately click away from that shit. But I guess Destiny and his bro squad thought it was really funny to sit and laugh while staring at an 8-year-old's penis. Next, a couple years later, Destiny planned to kill a kid. Apparently, this kid was DDoSing Destiny's website. DDoSing is when you overwhelm a website with fake internet traffic, causing it to shut down. And because Destiny's website was shut down, he was no longer able to make money from it.
Oh, I did troll the shit out of the DDoS kid. That's a guy, that's one of the people, like, legitimately, like, you have no, like, it's actually kind of scary, like, how close I was to getting people together to go down to his house and kill him and his family. Or it would have just been him and his father. Because I didn't know anything about it. Dude, that was some of the most fucked up shit in my entire life. I was so close to doing it. But I was making so much money on Twitch, and I don't know if Nathan was involved in yet, but for whatever reason, I decided that the current life I had wasn't worth the risk of... Oh my god. Oh my god, I was so close to this dress. I had streets mapped out and you have no idea. That's when I first started getting an interest in like owning a weapon. I got a permit to own a gun and everything.
Destiny obviously never went through with killing this kid, but the fact that he legitimately planned to kill him is unhinged.
Were you really considering it? Yeah, of course.
It's actually kind of scary, like how close I was to getting people together to go down to his house and kill him and his family.
How old was the kid in relation to you? I think the kid was probably 16. I think I was 22.
Destiny has defended this to this day, saying that if someone is stopping you from making money, this justifies killing them, even if they're a child.
If you came outside every single day and some guy was slashing your tires and he wouldn't stop and you called the police and nobody wanted to do anything, despite having proof for it, you're like, well, I'm gonna have to attack this dude and maybe even kill him. Yeah, sure, go for it.
Obviously, I agree that someone maliciously taking away your primary source of income is incredibly bad, but I think there are a lot of other possible avenues you could explore before jumping to the nuclear option of shooting a child. As much as it obviously sucks to lose your income, I think if you need to choose between killing a child in cold blood and losing your Twitch revenue, you're just gonna need to put the fries in the bag and get a new job. The next child-related Destiny incident is when he encouraged an infamous lolly or drawn CP artist to draw a picture of his 6-year-old child. This artist is a man named Shadman.
Wait, what?
You might recognize Shadman.
I never thought there would be new things that I find out about how freakish he is.
From the recent controversy with Ava Chris Tyson from Mr. Beast, who was a really big fan of Shadman's work. Shadman has a long history of drawing pornographic images of actual children, including Keemstar's daughter, and because Destiny was aware of this, he encouraged Shadman to draw a pornographic image of his 6-year-old son. This controversy started because Destiny had been insulting the YouTube animation community. In response, Shadman made this drawing of Destiny to make fun of him, so Destiny then responded to Shadman by tweeting, "Hey @Shadbase, if drawing fan art of me is a tad uncomfortable, you could try drawing my son. He's only 6, so it should be easier for you." To try to be good faith to Destiny, this tweet was obviously a joke, and he didn't actually want Shadman to draw a picture of his son.
Okay, never mind. I thought he was like actually urging him to. No, that's not.
However, I still think that goading a known CP artist into drawing CP of your own son is incredibly irresponsible. Because imagine if Shadman took him up on his request and did go ahead and make the drawing in the same way he had drawn Keemstar's daughter. Then, Destiny's son would have had to deal with the fact that there would be drawn CP of him floating around the internet for the rest of his life. If there was a known child murderer and you decided to tweet at that child murderer, "Hey, how about you come murder my child, LOL?" I think we would all agree that that would be incredibly irresponsible, even if that was just a joke. In the same way, I think it's incredibly irresponsible to encourage a known CP artist to draw CP of your child, even if it's just a joke. Thankfully, Shadman did not end up drawing Destiny's child like he had drawn Keemstar's child, and Destiny got to have fun making his little joke.
What a great comeback.
Even though this joke could have come at the expense of his 6-year-old son's safety.
I'm not gonna lie. I really do think less of people that actively and openly collaborate with Destiny. It's probably my biggest shortcoming. Yeah, straight up. I think it is. I think it is a shortcoming. Maybe because I know too much of it. Maybe some people don't know. We're just so fucking gross, dude. It doesn't mean I hate you, right? But I really do think there's a tad bit less of you, you know?
Even though a lot of these situations involving children happened quite a while ago, I still think Destiny has been spreading harmful rhetoric around children even quite recently. A couple years ago, Destiny said that a 30-year-old randomly sexting a 14-year-old would not be grooming.
Let's say there's a person that's like 30 years old and tries to like randomly sext like 14-year-olds and 15-year-olds. That wouldn't be, I don't think that would be considered grooming.
So that clip sounds pretty bad, right? But we don't want to approach Destiny in bad faith or take him out of context, so let's try to understand the actual argument that Destiny is making.
That wouldn't be, I don't think that would be considered grooming. Now, let's say there's a person that's 30 years old and they're specifically seeking out like 14, 15-year-olds to kind of just like talk to them about their school life, figure out what their problems are, you know, be cool because you're old and you have experience, and then you kind of weasel in like sex talk. That's like grooming, right? That would be like grooming.
So Destiny's argument is that a 30-year-old randomly sexting a 14-year-old isn't grooming, but if a 30-year-old tries to weasel their way into a 14-year-old's life and slowly manipulate them into sexting them, this would be grooming. But this argument goes against the definition of grooming. The definition of grooming is the action of attempting to form a relationship with a child or young person with the intention of sexually assaulting them or inducing them to commit an illegal act. Guess what, Destiny? Nowhere in that definition does it say that grooming has to be a slow process. Grooming is just forming a relationship with a child for the purpose of sex. A lot of times grooming is a slow process because they have to slowly break down the child's boundaries in order to get them to have a sexual relationship with them, but sometimes grooming can happen very quickly. For example, in situations where the child already has some established level of trust with the person who is grooming them. In this clip, Destiny is talking about influencers who sext their underage fans and saying that these influencers sexting their fans wouldn't necessarily be grooming because grooming is a slow process. The reason that influencers are often able to groom their fans so quickly is because their fans already have an established parasocial relationship.
Someone that tries to say, so what is this guy's deal? Is he like a nuanced pervert? No, he presents himself as a nuanced pervert, and sometimes it's purely for the spirit of debate to make it seem like he can defend an indefensible position. And other times it is because he's trying to use the nuanced pervertry to basically aesthetically look like he's winning the argument. That's it.
Destiny also got really mad that people were labeling Drake a pedophile. He even had a debate about why it's totally fine for Millie Bobby Brown at 14 to be texting Drake about relationship
another
advice.
classic.
When you say he's texting her and he wants to give her dating advice, what if she's the one that brought it up first? Should he say something like, I'm sorry, but it's inappropriate for me to talk to you about high school boys? Or what? Like, what?
Yeah. You do it all the time. When some young person comes up to you and starts saying some weird stuff, you just sit there with this 13-year-old and then you start having conversations extended about them about dating?
Yeah, I have before. What do you mean? No, would I tell if a young person came up to me and they were asking me questions about some like boy problems or some shit? Yeah, I'd probably say, yeah, of course. What do you mean, I'm a 35-year-old man? Of course I'm going to have better advice for them than some random high school person. Yeah, of course.
Wait.
If a 15-year-old girl came up to me and she's like, there's some weird shit going on with a boy in my high school, I'd say, oh, no, don't talk to me, honey. Go ask another 15-year-old boy or ask your fucking mom and dad who are going to tell you to never talk to any boys ever. No, what the
Hold up. Do you think you should be talking to them about sex?
It depends on the context. I don't give a What do you mean? If a 15-year-old asks me and she's like, I think I'm going to this guy at school unprotected, yeah, I'd probably say, bro, you're 15. Don't destroy your life. Make sure you guys are using protection. Why would I not say this?
Okay, and do you think that most parents finding out that you're talking to their kids about sex and giving them advice, do you think they would take it well?
I don't know. I don't give a They should be talking to their own kids about it.
So apparently Destiny has given children relationship advice in the past.
He's got really solid understanding of consent and boundaries, it seems. So glad. Couldn't be a better person to give this sort of advice to children.
Is famously really great at relationships, so I'm sure these children really appreciated his sage words of wisdom.
But if there's one thing that nobody would ever say about Destiny, is that he makes good personal life dating decisions.
Destiny also says that he thinks he would give better relationship advice than a child's retarded parents, and that he would give a child sex advice even if this would upset the child's parents. Who cares if parents don't want you to talk to their kids about sex? Destiny understands your kids better than you do. Destiny, you're a rule utilitarian, right? You believe that we should establish moral rules based on what generally leads to the least amount of harm. But you don't think that it would be good to establish a general rule that it's not safe for 31-year-olds like Drake to be texting 14-year-olds like Millie Bobby Brown about their relationships? Of course, there can be hypothetical situations where this isn't harmful and the adult actually does have good intentions, but in general, I don't think it's safe for children to be having these sorts of private conversations with adults. And I think it is totally reasonable to side-eye Drake for having these sorts of conversations with Millie Bobby Brown, especially because he kissed a child on stage.
How old are you?
Now, is Drake a pedophile? Well, like I said, he kissed a child on stage, but Destiny would probably explain that this child was post-pubescent, not prepubescent, and kissing one child doesn't prove that he has a primary attraction to children, so therefore, we don't have enough evidence to label Drake a pedophile. Oh god, can you see how exhausting this is? Some people actually enjoy to listen to this shit day in and day out on Destiny's stream. Maybe Destiny just really wants to show Drake good faith because Drake has dropped so many bangers over the years. Or maybe he's defending Drake because he sees himself in Drake because of his own personal relationships with young people. Enter Rose is Coming, Destiny's 19-year-old e-girl Discord kitten. A couple years ago, Destiny was simultaneously married to a woman named Melina while having an affair on Melina with a white nationalist woman named Lauren Southern and sexting this 19-year-old e-girl named Rose is Coming on the side. Destiny was in an open marriage with Melina, but he still managed to have an affair with Melina because he didn't tell her about his relationship with Lauren Southern. And he also violated his wife's consent by sending her sex tapes to this 19-year-old e-girl without asking her.
Nothing has happened with consent.
I guess having an open relationship just wasn't enough for Destiny. Even though he was already free to sleep with other people, he still had to figure out some way to over his wife. Anyway, while Destiny was sexting this 19-year-old, he asked her if she wanted to do age play, which is where you role play as being even younger. She was already 15 years younger than him, but you know, why not add on another 5 or 10 years for good measure? According to Destiny himself, he views sexting 19-year-olds as the same as sexting 15-year-olds.
When you're 19, you're a little kid, okay? Now, if you're 22, a 19-year-old's not a kid to you, okay? I'm 29. A 19-year-old might as well be a 15-year-old to me. It's all the fucking same, dude. Don't give me this just because of some legal age of consent, whatever bullshit. I have about as much in common with like an 18-year-old, 19-year-old freshman in school as I would a sophomore in high school. Any type of inclination towards any of those people is really weird. If you live with your mom and dad still pay all of your bills, you're still a virgin, you've never been in a relationship, you don't go to school, you've never even had a job before, you've never lived on your own, you're a child. You're very much a child.
So Destiny views 19-year-olds as little kids.
You're a little kid.
And says that being attracted to them is really fucking weird.
Really fucking weird.
Yet here he is 5 years later at age 34, sexting this 19-year-old, asking her if she wants to do age play.
What is this? What do you think about Frogan getting mad at donating 10K for Palestine Children's Relief Fund since he didn't make Dream do it too? What? Frogan apologized? Okay. You're bringing in something. I didn't even know that. You're bringing in something that a person has apologized for a year ago, dude. You good? Why are we rehashing shit that happened a year ago? Possibly because their favorite content creator is currently getting exposed for being a horrifying little sex pest that he is. And I suspect that that is the reason why people are coming in to just be like, hey, just stop watching the video, I think. Or maybe it's in the content nuke. Oh, okay. Content nuke.
Non-consensual sex tapes of his friends and wife. And honestly, it doesn't even matter what my opinion is of this. In Destiny's own words, he thinks this is really f***ing weird.
Really f***ing weird.
So, is Destiny a pedophile? I don't really give a f*** what you label him. I choose to label him a freak. Only freaks engage in the type of degenerate behavior that Destiny has engaged in. I don't give a Let's finish out the video by talking about Destiny's treatment towards women in more recent years. A little while ago, Destiny admitted that he was psychologically abusive towards his ex-wife.
This is probably just going to be Melina venting about her relationship with me to Bob. Listen, okay? I've said it a million times. I'm a very hard person to date. I work a ton and I'm very cold. I have a really hard time dealing with people when they get emotional, okay? But if Melina starts crying or we're having an argument, I'll say like, listen, I'm going to go play Minecraft, like come talk to me when you're done crying, because I can't sit here and listen to you cry. I'm wasting the few minutes of free time I have in the day. I'm not going to sit here and listen to you cry doing it. Like, so anybody that survives a relationship with me for more than like 6 months, okay, props to that person, because they're going through some severe psychological abuse, all right? It's a hard thing to deal with. I'm not joking.
Maybe Destiny's fans would claim that he was being hyperbolic here and he wasn't actually admitting to being abusive. But here's his best friend Dan also saying that Destiny was really shitty towards his ex-wife.
I'll say this also. I think Steven was a really shitty husband to Melina. Okay? I'm coming out here saying it right now. I don't think Steve would deny it either, but it's not good. The way that he was. Like, I talked with Melina a lot of times and she was crying and miserable and everything else. And Steve would say, what do you want me to say? I'm a selfish motherfucker. That's why I'm in the relationship that I'm in, the way that I do things that I'm in. And Melina, like, really was hurt by it. And I think, like, she was like, you know, what should I do? Should I leave? And I'll tell you this, I never was like, I was never like, no, you should stay and make things out. I told her multiple times, like, listen, if you feel like this is an abusive relationship, get the fuck out of there immediately.
Melina herself has also accused Destiny of being psychologically abusive towards her.
I'm irritated by a couple things. One thing I'm irritated about is that my ex-wife has reached out to a ton of people. At least, I'll say at least 5 mutual friends have alerted me. I have no idea how many other are affected. Basically saying that I've lied about a ton of stuff and that I am abusive.
So Destiny has said that he was psychologically abusive towards Melina. Melina has said that Destiny was psychologically abusive towards Melina. And Destiny's best friend Dan also seems to think that Destiny was psychologically abusive towards Melina. I wonder if maybe Destiny was psychologically abusive towards Melina. Destiny seems to think that as long as he's like, yep, I'm an abuser, deal with it.
Because they're going through some severe psychological abuse, all right? It's a hard thing to deal with. I'm not joking.
That he can just move on from this and sweep it under the rug, but I don't believe he should be allowed to do this. And I don't understand why any woman would ever want to associate with Destiny after seeing shit like this. Destiny not only has a history of allegedly being abusive himself, he also has a history of surrounding himself with other abusive men. Years ago, the streamer Vosh was exposed by Destiny for sexually harassing a woman named Poppy.
Yeah, so the problem is that we've gotten these complaints for like, I think about a year, where like you've been like really sexually aggressive from a variety of people. Okay. Yeah. Well, no, the worst thing is that you engage in a repeatable pattern of behavior where you try to be very sexually aggressive towards a lot of the women in chat in order to make them uncomfortable enough to send you pictures. And then if they don't, you either act very aggressive towards them, like by telling them that you can't continue conversations anymore, or you continue to sexually harass them until they either give in or block you or go crazy or whatever.
It hasn't, I mean, none of this has happened. That's an extrapolation that you can make based on Poppy.
But even after Destiny found out that Vosh had sexually harassed her, he still decided to be friends with him and platform him and help him start his career. And now, years later, because of Destiny's actions, all of us have had to endure learning about Vosh's horse fetish and his short stack goblin porn. If you don't know what I'm talking about, don't look into it.
This is It's interesting because like Ethan made long, comprehensive, and voluminous content out of this particular subject matter, which, you know, it hits the field of drama and gross pervertry, make no mistake. And yet, I think he's offered, what, an approximate total of 5 to 10 minutes on sex pestiny, while simultaneously spending 6+ months talking about how much of a terrorism lover I am, including playing games made by Sex Pestini's community that, you know, compare me to Osama bin Laden and numerous other Muslim and Arab content creators, to other terrorists.
You at home, play along. We're going to play. Is it Twitch or is it a terrorist?
And then did an entire Nuke rehashing all of those same talking points. That was 2 hours long. Also tried to get me deplatformed actively and went after the platform itself, demanding an apocalypse take place.
Later on, after Destiny's relationship with Vosh fell apart, Destiny decided to become friends with a racist named Mr. Girl. And Mr. Girl is not allegedly a racist, he is a racist. He posted a video openly admitting to raping a woman.
A couple years ago, I matched with a woman on Tinder. I say woman because she was 46. Anyway, we got frozen yogurt. She came over. We got naked. I got naked. Then we both got naked. We started making out. Sex kind of makes me anxious, so I don't like a ton of foreplay. To me, it should...
What is going on? There is quite literally an endless well of depravity.
I'm trying to be patient. Finally, I get her on top of me. I put my dick in place, like right at her vagina, and I'm like, all right, let's do this. She holds perfectly still and says, I'm not ready. Clear as day, no mistaking her meaning. She doesn't consent. But she has this look in her eye, like she's daring me to just push it in. Like I'm some kind of pussy if I don't. I could have been imagining that, but I grabbed her shoulders and pushed her down onto my dick.
I f***ed her.
Did she like that I did that? I think so. But she probably had mixed feelings about it. Was it rape? Yes, I guess. I don't know. She told me not to, and I did it anyway. That makes it rape.
I don't know what went through Mr. Girl's head that he thought it was a good idea to openly admit to raping someone.
Dude, I think we gotta... All right, I'm done. I think we just gotta shut it down. We got to shut down the entire operation. No more podcasts. No more YouTube. None of this shit. Shut it off. Hit the fucking reset button on the internet. I'm not just talking about YouTube. I'm not just talking about Twitch or Twitter. I'm talking the internet. We do not know how to deal with the internet. Nah, too far, man.
On the internet, but... That's Mr. Girl for you. Mr. Girl is most well known for his review of the movie Cuties, where he said that he found the 10-year-old girls in that movie hot.
And it juxtaposes these amazing scenes where it's like you'll see the girls playing on a bed where they're stuffing gummy bears in their mouths and they're just totally children. And then you'll see them shaking their booties on this stairway as they make this viral video. And they're pretty hot.
10 years old is 5 years too young for Destiny's taste, but he decided to become friends with Mr. Girl anyway. Mr. Girl also released a bunch of videos where he was like emotionally abusing his girlfriend on camera. After they had been friends for a while, Destiny and Mr. Girl got in.
What is going on, dude? What the f is happening? Why do these people exist? Why do they do these things? How do you find that out about a person who voluntarily reveals this information and you go, oh, that's the guy I want to be homies with?
And some drama because Destiny had banned Mr. Girl from Destiny's subreddit because Mr. Girl was criticizing Destiny for the way that he had defended Nick Fuentes. And then if you...
Wait, what the f? One consistent thing I will say about the Sex Pestiny cult is that this man will align himself with literally every different cretin on the internet. Neo-Nazis, white supremacists, white nationalists, pedophiles, sometimes pedophile neo-Nazis like Sam Hyde. Why not both? And usually the only way that he breaks off from them is if he feels like they have wronged him individually. It is never about their worldview, their actions, no matter how harmful they might be. Especially if he wants to f them, he will literally, permanently defend those people. It is kind of shocking how many of these sorts of people Sex Pestiny has collaborated with, and he inevitably ends up, quote unquote, burning those bridges, right? As his fan base likes to call it. But it seems as though it is never due to, and maybe I'm wrong, maybe there are instances where he's like had ideological differences or whatever, but it's almost always about a personal slight. And there are instances, as this chatter is also pointing out to, like when he said he would have even defended Vosh for the lolly shit if he had not pissed him off. He's talked about Nick Fuentes and said, I've defended Nick Fuentes. I gave him a career. I gave his phone number to Adam22 and numerous other podcasters, and he dare defy me. Ethan broke off from you because of your worldview. Yeah, it is true. That wasn't on my end, by the way. There was no point in which I was like, yeah, you, dude. I'm burning this bridge. I consistently offered him grace over and over again. How is this my doing at all? Yeah, I'm sorry that I think that making an ongoing genocide all about your own personal feelings is kind of insane. And it does make me think a little bit less of you. It's crazy how you were talking so much shit from your own audience defending Ethan, and he still has a piss fit over it. Yeah, for like an entire year, I just told my chat, calm the down. Ethan is not your enemy. Pick better targets. Pick better targets. And it's wild because like he kept saying like, oh, you're not moderating your community. You're not moderating your community. And one of those honest question, do you regret offering so much grace? No, I will always operate that way. I'm telling you right now, expect that from me. It does not matter. This is what I have done consistently for every single person. This is something that a lot of people get mad at me over as well. A lot of people in my community are always like, oh, why are you so nice? Why are you so nice to content creators? It's because you know them. It's because they're rich. It's because they're your friends, blah, 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 blah. And it's like, no, that's just how I am. You might not like it. You might not appreciate it. But I will always maintain hope that a person can be talked down the ledge, okay? Talked off of a ledge. It's a principle that I maintain. It is precisely the reason why I think I've been effective in changing people's minds in general in this community. And if I did not maintain that level of charitability and try to advocate for rehabilitation, I would not have so many wonderful people who've had their minds changed over these years. So I will extend that, especially to someone that I know personally. Always. There's obviously a limit to that charitability, and that limit has far passed when you engage in a censorious campaign to try to get me banned and attack all of these other content creators who are much smaller and to limited success. You actually end up silencing and suppressing pro-Palestinian voices. It's just like ridiculous. It's completely unacceptable.
A report called the Destiny Report, where he outlined all of the ways that he believes Destiny is an abuser. Most people ignored this report because they didn't really care to listen to a potential abusive pedophile rapist give his opinions on why he thinks Destiny is abusive. The report was also over 100,000 words long, and it was terribly formatted, and honestly, no one had time to read all that shit. And while I personally think that Mr. Girl is a disgusting weirdo, I do think he made a couple decent points in his report. Mr. Girl's main perspective is that he believes Destiny has a pattern of being abusive towards the women in his orbit. And now that we've seen evidence that Destiny has been sharing sex tapes of his orbiters and his ex-wife behind their back without their consent, I think this adds some credence to the idea that there might be a pattern of abuse happening here. In my opinion, Destiny kind of reminds me of the character of Dennis from It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia, if Dennis was shorter and scrawnier and more annoying.
I didn't know I was being filmed. If you're in my room, you're always being filmed. You are. He does. True. He does. It's his thing. thing. It's kind of creepy.
In case you haven't seen the show, the character Dennis is known for being a psychopath who's incredibly good at manipulating women.
Oh, look, I'm not narcissistic. That's good. I told you guys I was humble. We're a bit Machiavellian, a bit not psychotic. Psychopath, a bit psychopathic. That's what I'm looking for.
The most famous clip of Dennis is where he explains that if you take a woman out on a boat with you, she won't say no to having sex with you because of the implication.
The whole purpose of buying the boat in the first place was to get the ladies nice and tipsy topside so we can take them to a nice, comfortable place below deck and, they can't refuse because of the implication.
Oh, okay. You had me go in there for the first part. The second half kind of threw me.
Well, dude, think about it. She's out in the middle of nowhere with some dude she barely knows. She looks around her. What does she see? Nothing but open ocean. There's nowhere for me to run. What am I going to do? Say no?
Okay, that seems really dark.
No, it's not dark. You're misunderstanding me, bro.
I think I am.
Yeah, you are. Because if the girl said no, then the answer obviously is no.
No.
But the thing is she's not gonna say no. She would never say no because of the implication.
Well, in 2020, Destiny explains that he doesn't think it would be good for someone who has a large online platform to be sexting the women who he has as guests on his show because of the implication.
Let's say that I run like a really big podcast. I get 30,000 viewers. Let's say that I have a podcast. I got 30,000 viewers. Let's say that there's a girl that messages me. We talk for a little bit. And she really...
This motherfucker talked about so much that he literally has, I feel like, advocated and argued vociferously against the current thing that he's doing.
Really wants to be on. And I'm like, yeah, cool. Like, you really want to come on the podcast, blah, blah, blah. I could probably start sexting her and she'll probably give in and send me nudes and shit because she doesn't want to lose that opportunity. She might not actually want to. She might not be into it really at all. But if I start propositioning her, if she says no to me, she might worry like if I say no to this guy, like I'm not going to make it on that podcast.
Oh yeah, definitely. And then are you wrong for asking in that case? Even though you saw it.
I think it is wrong. Yeah, I don't think you should.
However, as we now know, Destiny has a long history of doing this exact thing to the women who are guests on his show.
I don't like the idea that we're normalizing, someone bringing in a bunch of small content creators that are women, them, right? And then when that fallout inevitably happens, just cast them away. It's a really weird dynamic. I work with women, and I'm happy with the fact that it's professional. And that needs to be a standard that we set for more people, because I hate the idea that I just show up on screen with a woman and it's automatically sex. But can I really be mad at an audience for thinking that when I hang out with Steven, who literally fucks pretty much everybody he works with?
It is possible that you are a very mature person, and even if they turned you down, you're still cool with them being on your podcast. There are some people like that, but not everybody. No one knows. That's the problem. Nobody can ever know that if you're actually that kind of person. That's why it's a very hazy area where you can't really consent in that situation because you don't really know.
So on the one hand, he is saying that you shouldn't sext with women who are guests on your show because they can't fully consent, and on the other hand, he is sexting with most of the women who are guests on his show and sharing around their sex tapes without their consent. If you come onto Destiny's stream as a woman, you can be pretty safe to assume that you are going to get a bunch of hate comments on Destiny's subreddit. But according to Destiny's community, it's not because they hate women, it's just because these particular women all happen to be too stupid to debate their daddy Destiny. One time, Destiny's head moderator of his subreddit named Forethought sent one of his female orbiters the message, "Kelly Jean, stop pretending like you're hurt by sexism. Your greatest aspiration was being an esports victim. Holy fuck, no wonder you wish you got raped. You've got literally nothing going on to be doing this at 40. After seeing these messages, Destiny refused to remove Forethought as a moderator of his subreddit.
But the whole idea is that if there's no wrong way to treat Kelly Jean or whatever, if that's her mentality when it comes to her, who's to say that doesn't expand to other people?
Like, can we just why is it okay to do whatever you want to Kelly Jean? Oh yeah,
you'd have to ask Destiny that.
I mean, it's Kelly Jean.
That's not that.
Yeah, but if you have that mentality, Destiny, then yeah, he's gonna copy it, isn't he?
I wonder why women don't always feel comfortable on Destiny's subreddit. At the time, Destiny and his community absolutely tore Lav to shreds because they didn't think that she had enough evidence to substantiate the claim that Destiny was the Harvey Weinstein of YouTube. One time when Lav was in the hospital, Destiny sent to his public chat, I wish this person would just kill themselves already or fuck off from my shit forever. Destiny even one time shared with his public chat that there was a Kiwi Farms thread being made about Lav. In case you don't know, Kiwi Farms is a message board that is famous for doxing and harassing people they don't like. So by sending Destiny's community to her Kiwi Farms page, Destiny was essentially doxing her. To be clear, I'm not trying to 100% defend Lav here. I think that some of the negative comments about her debating were accurate. I don't think she's a particularly good debater. I also don't think that she necessarily had enough evidence to back up the claim that Destiny is the Harvey Weinstein of YouTube. Although these days I do think there is a lot more evidence pointing to that being the case. She also one time claimed that Hasan had slept.
I understand why you never want to talk about this dude. I feel so sad after hearing this shit. Yeah. I mean, they've been, he's been actively collaborating with the Kiwi Farms people, making my life and all of the other people that are friends of mine and their lives miserable too. So
these days, I do think there is a lot more evidence pointing to that being the case. She also one time claimed that Hasan had slept with a 17-year-old, which she didn't have any evidence to back up, and then Hasan ended up tearing her to shreds for that. And since then,
I didn't just tear her to shreds for that. Yeah, no, literally, she did. She did say that. That was the one time where Destiny was like, you shouldn't say that because you know that it is false. And then she turned around and openly admitted, I don't know where the Patreon post is. I'm sure it's someone probably still has it because I remember covering it on stream. She turned around and literally admitted that she lied about it. What an insane thing to lie about, dude. What a psychotic thing to lie about. That was the reason why many people, even in the Destiny community and many people like outside, even like what's the name of the guy, the potato Keemstar Orbiter? Donofrorio, Nick Oreo, Mr. Oreo, Nick Oreo. I used to judge you in a bad way, but every day it seems like I was wrong and I'm sorry. It's all good. You know, she just lied about it again last week. Same lie. Yeah, she just constantly goes back and forth on it. I don't know what's wrong with this person. I genuinely don't know. I think she's just like deeply, deeply, deeply mentally unwell. Yeah, this is it. I will not be streaming anymore, effective immediately. And it came out of nowhere. Like it just came out of nowhere where she said that. Control F Hasan. And lastly, he'd brought up the secret I told him out of nowhere, so I had to play in the conversation. The secret I told him when he told me a secret. Told me he'd ruin me, how bad I'd look. He worked in it. I'm not going to be blackmailed. Hasan Parker slept with my very young friend when he was not so young. It was legal. But he's denounced men publicly for doing much less. Ridiculous. Okay? All of this is ridiculous. I don't care about it. And she's never going to come forward, but the fact exists nonetheless. An example of hypocrisy. Another person's hypocrisy is gold to a streamer, a shiny weapon. I was armed. Nothing will come of it. Ethically, it was a small infraction, and it won't be held over my head. She literally openly admits that she just straight up lied. Why do these people despise you so much? This person, I don't even know why. Anyway, I hope, once again, I hope she gets the help that she needs. You left her on red on Instagram and that was your only infraction prior? Yeah, I found out. I didn't know who the this person was, and then I found out that like I had just not responded to a DM of hers. I think one of the key points to make here is that Destiny preys on people who are mentally unwell for sex. I mean, yeah, for sure.
That she has become a TERF who says a bunch of racist and transphobic shit on Twitter. However, I do still think that the treatment she endured from Destiny's community was insane. Being a bad person does not disqualify you from being abused. And if a woman feels like she's being abused by you and your community, I don't think a good way to prove that you're actually not abusive is by telling her to kill herself and doxing her. Destiny has a long history of bringing mentally ill women onto his stream to the point where it's a meme in his community that all of the women on Destiny's stream have BPD. Destiny himself has said that he's most attracted to women who he considers mentally unstable.
This dude really has a penchant for going after mentally ill women, okay? Women with like severe depression, and a lot of them got like self-diagnosed BPD or some bullshit. Like he just likes that. I don't know. To me, the fact that there's a pattern with a lot of these girls is a bit weird.
But the question is, does Destiny just happen to attract a bunch of mentally unstable women to his stream, or does he purposefully attract mentally unstable women because he knows they are more easy to abuse? Another mentally ill woman that Destiny had a long conflict with was a woman named Anna. Just like with Lav, Destiny also encouraged his community to go to Anna's Kiwi Farms thread, and he encouraged them to post in her thread.
Oh, okay. Also, heads up. This is my only non-media blackout time, okay? This is my only non-media blackout time. I will immediately back this, okay? Somebody on Kiwi Farms has made a thread of Anna. So if you are obsessed with Anna and you want to talk about her all the time, you, chatter, you can actually go to Kiwi Farms and you can go and post all you want, read all you want. Go there, post about it, talk about it. People put a lot of effort into categorizing and archiving everything. There you go, okay?
And in the thread about Anna that Destiny encouraged his fans...
That's insane that he's using the doxing subreddit as his own personal weapon, dude. And I assume they hate him on there too. They just hate everybody. But it is crazy to just like encourage that shit with your, again, sycophantic cult fan base.
...fans to go message, they doxed Anna. And it was later revealed that at this time, Destiny was secretly in an ongoing sexual relationship with Anna.
So you acknowledge that you've been sexting with her for a year?
I think, yeah, we've had on and off, sure.
In response to this, Anna texted Destiny, "You literally ruined my life. You just doxed me on your stream. You put me in danger." And Destiny responded to this by saying, "You're doing it to yourself and you're going to keep doing it to yourself." This is one of the most insane things I have ever seen in my entire life. Choosing to dox a woman you are actively sexting with just because she pissed you off. I guess if you want to live life by Destiny's rules, if your wife or girlfriend or friends with benefits ever pisses you off, why not just dox her to hundreds of thousands of people? I also want to be clear that I'm not defending Anna. Anna also has a long history of harassing Steven, which is obviously not good. But Destiny also treated Anna like garbage.
Oh my God.
He not only doxed her, but he also threatened to leak her nudes when she threatened to leak sext messages between the two of them to prove that Destiny had been lying about her.
So do you think that leaking sexting and leaking nudes is proportional, or do you think it's a proportional response in the way that you're reacting to that?
I think it's about proportional. Yeah. Thanks.
You don't think that she has more to lose in that scenario? Like, you think that people were going...
Why does everyone suck in this video? I think you guys now understand why I stay away from like this community and have consistently stayed away from this community actively and have tried to shelter you from this shit, even though there are still a bunch of weird little drama perverts in here. You know who you are. Many of you long-term community members that do actively go in there and like pick all this shit apart because you love watching this insanity. But this is the reason why I have tried to cordon off this part of the internet, because it is insane. It is genuinely an endless well of depravity. And that's the only reason why I went back on my initial, I will never cover this, I will never openly talk about this mentality. The only reason why I got into that was because of the Israel stuff. It's a truly depraved, morally repugnant shit. It's also interesting because their number one thing that they have held over my head for years is the fact that I bought a house for myself and my family, and have been able to actively bring in a large number of random people who also go along with that is actually inconsistent with being socialist. Like, that's what's so crazy about it. It's like, this dude is just like doing sex crimes galore over here. And unironically, he has poisoned the well so fucking hard in his community that his fan base literally straight up think that I am a vicious villain. And depending on who he's collaborating with, I've seen people say that Nick Fuentes is a significantly better figure and less dangerous than someone like myself. Like, these are legitimately things that they actually believe, this community of insane cultists.
I think you're gonna have more to lose, but I just don't see the huge difference between like sex and nudes. Like, you're leaking like personal, like sexual shit that somebody sent you and like trusted you with. Like, in my opinion, this is like one of the biggest forms of like weird, like backstabbing shit that you can do. It's like one of the worst things a person can do is like leaking like private sexual shit like that.
I love you, Tom.
So Anna had stalked and harassed Destiny, and Destiny had lied about Anna and threatened to leak her nudes and sent his fans to a website that doxed her. This is a situation where they were both clearly in the wrong, but I think this situation sent a message to Destiny's previous sexual partners that if you get onto Destiny's bad side, he will not be afraid to threaten to leak your nudes and send his fans to a website that doxes you. Looking back at Destiny's streams from over the years, I found at least 20 different women who had allegedly had some sort of sexual relationship with Destiny at some point, and I found at least 15 different previous female orbiters who now all hate Destiny's guts, and Destiny now labels them as crazy. The fact that Destiny has had sex with a bunch of his orbiters and now a bunch of them hate him doesn't necessarily prove abuse, but what I do know is that Destiny is not living by the standard he expects other people to live by. Again, he said himself that you should not sext people who are guests on your platform because they might not be able to fully consent because of the implication.
I think it is wrong. Yeah, I don't think you should.
And at the very least, he has totally and utterly failed at living up to this standard of conduct that he expects other people to live by. I think we would need more evidence to concretely prove that Destiny's stream really is this system of abuse, but all I know is that there are at least 4 alleged victims and a whole host of other women who absolutely hate Destiny's guts, so I would recommend that women should stay as far away from Destiny's community as possible.
If you know that the people you're going to be involved with are only short-term partners, and you constantly see the after effect of most of your hookups and your interactions leaving a trail of broken hearts and disappointed people, that's a moral failing.
All right, let's recap all of Destiny's treatment towards women. Destiny sexually assaulted a woman. Destiny has a long history of sharing women's nudes and sex tapes without their consent. Destiny allegedly recorded a woman having sex with him without her consent. And in his messages to his Discord kitten Roses Coming, he sent her audio recordings of men that he had slept with from Grindr and said, "I went out and sucked a guy off a few nights ago and recorded the audio. It's really scuffed in my pocket, LOL. Did I ever send it to
Bro, this person is still on it. Look. Dude, Ethan Klein fans, I'm serious. Please, you're making him look worse by being like this. What is going on, man? Have some self-respect.
If he was recording the audio from his pocket, it sure doesn't sound like that audio was recorded consensually, does it? Maybe he did ask if he could record him, but then he put the phone back in his pocket where the audio would sound terrible for some reason, but I highly, highly, highly doubt that. And if he was recording men from Grindr without their knowledge, it's also very easy to believe that he was recording Cherry without her knowledge. He has a history of calling 15-year-olds attractive and sharing pictures of them in bikinis. He has a long history of getting very mad at women when they post about their sexual assaults on social media. He has allegedly abused at least one of his female orbiters and was psychologically abusive towards his ex-wife. And he also admitted to choking out another one of his exes multiple times. However, he claims that this was done in self-defense.
Because you better believe I had to choke her out a few times.
Finally, Destiny has a history of doxing and threatening to leak the nudes of women that get on his bad side. I find this incredibly ironic because in his Keffels manifesto, he says that progressives believe there's no such thing as bad tactics, only bad targets.
And what comes of the belief that there are no bad tactics, only bad targets?
Well, if you ask me, doxing women and threatening to leak their nudes is the definition of bad tactics that you should not be doing even if you think that woman is a valid target. If you add up all of these allegations, I think it's time to consider that maybe Destiny is just not a good person. Maybe he's your typical male feminist and all of the liberal bullshit that he spews on his platform is just him trying to get into women's pants. Before it had been publicly exposed that Destiny had shared Pixie's sex tapes without her consent, in private he acknowledged that he had severely, at the very least psychologically, damaged her. But once Pixie came out with her allegations publicly and announced that she was planning to sue Destiny, he went back to his old defensive ways and took accountability for nothing. He posted to his subreddit, "Legal arc beginning in mysterious ways. Such wow," which is the most millennial cringe way possible to respond to allegations of sex crimes. In this post, he never takes direct accountability for sharing Pixie's sex tapes with Rose's Coming without her consent, and instead he focuses on how he's a victim too because his nudes were also leaked by the hacker that apparently hacked Rose Is Coming. Obviously, Destiny is also a victim in this situation, but I struggle to find empathy for him because he refuses to take accountability for sharing the sex tapes non-consensually in the first place, which led to this entire mess. He also talks about how Pixie was asking him for a large amount of money because she was trying to teach him a lesson, and I don't necessarily see anything wrong with her wanting to teach Destiny a lesson. Maybe he needs to be taught a lesson. Pixie made the point that
it's very clear that for a very long time, Destiny has never actually had even a crumb of accountability, which is why over the course of the past 15 years, he has just repeatedly done this kind of stuff. And as his platform has grown, he's had more opportunity to increase the amount of victims in the process.
Unless there are some real consequences to Destiny for doing this, he'll probably just do it again in the future, which I agree with. Destiny later sent to his public chat, "Pixie and the people behind her just want money." Yet, this is a blatant lie because she made it abundantly clear to Steven that she would be willing to donate the money he gave her to charity. So, just like usual, Destiny is attempting to smear his victim in order to silence her, even though in my opinion, Pixie has done absolutely nothing wrong. And I think this shows incredible moral character on Pixie's part that she's even willing to donate this money to charity because I don't think she has any obligation to do this. But even with Pixie being basically the quote-unquote perfect victim, Destiny still decides to smear her. My favorite sentence from this post is when Destiny says, "I have been trying to move on from covering drama content as it has had an increasingly negative impact on those in my life." Bitch, you—
Let me guess. I assume if he's back to making content, I suspect he had a fantastic time going over his own community's work on the Ethan Klein Nuke. I suspect that he didn't have a problem covering that kind of drama. There is not a single instance where Destiny hasn't covered drama. When he talks about issues, when he talks about political issues, it's really interesting. His first approach, almost always, for months, I remember, even after he said he's pro-genocide, most of his coverage revolved around talking about me and Ethan, constantly trying to drive a wedge, okay? Constantly. Most of it was just straight up, Ryan mentioned you. What is this? Jesus Christ, this dude really thinks he has any place to watch a Hasan Nuke and criticize him right now with all the shit he's in? Then I'm going to highly recommend Hasan watches my Nuke about Destiny when he gets back to the US. Anyone in my audience that's friends with Hasan, I would appreciate if you can try to get my video to him. Fair is fair. I mean, I already did. Yeah, go like and subscribe to the channel.
When it was other people's heads on the chopping block, but now you want to stop covering drama once your head is on the chopping block. After this, Destiny sent some messages to his chat that were even more defensive. I have never done anything maliciously, as any of the insane allegations say. That's retarded. My only crime was being too much of a gooner in 2023 and earlier, 100% sure.
Just too much of a gooner.
And I can't say anything specifically because everyone wants to come at me in court now, I guess. When he says that he didn't do anything maliciously, I think he means that he didn't intend for Pixie's nudes to ever get leaked to the public. But I would argue that non-consensually sending her sex tapes in the first place was malicious in and of itself. And again, I think Destiny would agree with me that sharing the nudes in and of itself is malicious because he said that when Bob 7 allegedly did the same thing, this should be life-destroying.
But I do believe that these are relatively life-destroying revelations.
And you are not stupid, Destiny. You know that if you're sending around sex tapes to random 19-year-old e-girls, eventually something is going to get leaked.
You know, actually, one of the craziest parts about this whole story is the fact that Destiny trusted a 19-year-old Discord lady, okay, named Rose is Coming, with sex tapes of other people in his life. Nigga, if that's not compromised judgment, I don't know what the is, okay?
Also, your only crime is being too much of a gooner. Destiny's just a little bit of a goofy gooner. It's not like he committed any serious sex crimes. He's just a little gooner goblin. Look at my gooner goblin over there in the corner gooning. As usual, every single thing that Destiny says is an attempt to downplay, and refuse to take any accountability. Then Destiny sent this to his chat. Bro, if I need to go on the sex offender list, I'm taking like 20 other streamers with me, okay? Lol W. Again, trying to deflect from taking responsibility by saying that a bunch of other streamers have done the same shit. Recently, another clip of Destiny resurfaced where he talked about how he knew that a bunch of different streamers had committed sex crimes against children, but he just didn't care to expose any of them.
Like, everybody's gotten pics and more from underage.
Yeah, that's fucking nuts, dude. Like, that's just bad behavior. Why the would you openly admit that you know that there are sex offenders in your orbit and you just are holding off on revealing this? That's crazy.
Chicks, depending on what you've heard in different communities. No, let me finish. In the esports community, okay, everybody has been involved in that shit, okay? And there have been people that have gone way farther than that.
Do you know people in the esports community?
I'm not,
that have,
yeah, but I'm not going down that road. There's tons of rumors.
No, wait a minute. If you're saying you have knowledge of a crime and you're not willing to bring it forward.
Well, people talk about it, but like I don't have the means to go and acquire the evidence to like name names and name victims.
Break
and, like,
Dorito Gate right now, Destiny. Come on.
Let's hear it, dude. This is not my job. Listen, okay, I'm gonna be frank. I'm not gonna suicide my career to go on some vendetta against a bunch of video game guys, okay? This is not my life.
But now that his head is on the chopping block, I guess maybe he'll finally expose these abusers that he's been covering for years. And the last thing that Destiny has posted at the time of this recording was an absolutely hilarious meme on Twitter where he said, Korean barbecue is a little overrated, but I've always loved the short rib at this place. And it's a picture of a Korean restaurant called Goon Barbecue. Again, implying that he's just too much of a gooner because gooner sounds a lot better than sex criminal. He is choosing to be his same old self, making jokes instead of taking accountability. This motherfucker has the absolute gall to release an entire manifesto about how Keffals needs to take accountability for her actions, but then once he's in shit, he takes absolutely no accountability for his actions. Like, is this dude an actual baby? Are you a child? In what world is this the right way to respond to the fact that you violated one of your friends and, in your own words, severely psychologically damaged her? Never in a million years could I imagine being a soulless, heartless piece of shit like this who treats my best friends like actual human garbage. And for you to get up on your high horse and act like you're the moral police of the universe who has any place to judge other people while acting like this is insane.
You know, with this whole situation, I don't think Steven shared this because he thought it was okay to share. I personally believe, this is my theory, that he shared this because he just didn't care and he didn't think that the other person would ever find out. And that to me is almost worse, because it shows that you don't care about the people you slept with and who shared that intimate moment with you and recorded it. And it shows to me that if you are going to be able to avoid the consequences of it, you'll say and do things behind closed door that are just unbecoming. And if
Okay, I don't know if this is ABBA or Preach, but I will admit something. Remember when I said earlier that, like, I think less of people sometimes when they consistently collaborate with Destiny? I'm shocked, and I'm willing to admit that I definitely had... Oh, Destiny's former close friend ABBA, it's literally on the screen. I'm such an idiot. I will admit that ABBA is seemingly a much more thoughtful person than I previously pegged him as. And I think part of the reason why I felt the way that I did was because of the initial alignment that they had, both ABBA and Preach, with Destiny, and also their political perspectives. We have our political disagreements, I think, especially as it pertains to trans issues, but it seems like he is definitely a much more thoughtful person than I thought he was initially.
I'm your friend and I see you do that to your other people that you've slept with and you call friends, then I can only imagine that even for me, I might not be safe and I can't trust you. And what
ABBA was the one that debated D over the Drake stuff, and after D said that weird shit about him talking to children about relationships, he came to distance himself bit by bit. Oh.
I see is another more failing where it's like, when no one's watching, you're not doing the right thing. You can massage it however you want. It's a shitty thing to share a sex tape, but it's not the worst thing. Call it a spade a spade. It's garbage behavior. Don't mush it over because you like your favorite streamer. Don't mush it over because you think he's important politically. It's garbage behavior.
Right before uploading this video, another woman named Stasia just came out with allegations that Destiny shared explicit material of her without her consent. And a woman named Denims just came out with an allegation that Destiny had recorded her without her knowledge. This recording was non-sexual, but apparently it's illegal to record people without their knowledge in that state. Destiny chose to ignore Stasia's allegations for some reason, but in response to Denim's allegations, he sent messages to his public chat threatening to leak the recordings of her in an attempt to silence her, showing that he is still engaging in the exact same behavior as always. So now we have 4 different women who Destiny allegedly shared nudes of without their consent, 1 woman that Destiny sexually assaulted, 1 woman who felt pressured into sending Destiny feet pics, 1 woman who Destiny...
You're being stalked by L3L3's Reddit, just so you know that Kate individuals from there. I think ultimately the foot soldiers are not as vicious as the DDG community is. So it's okay. It's usually people like Kate who don't necessarily fully comprehend what they're advocating for, you know? Like they can't even like put together a coherent political perspective. They don't really know what they're angry about. They're just kind of trying to be helpful to what they perceive as Ethan's cause.
Allegedly recorded sexually without her knowledge, 2 men on Grindr who Destiny allegedly recorded sexually without their knowledge, and 1 woman who was recorded non-sexually without her knowledge, for a grand total of 10 different victims that we know of so far. And this is of course not including the 15-year-old girl that Destiny shared bikini pictures of, or the 8-year-old boy whose penis Destiny stared at. When will Destiny's community, DGG, wake the up and realize that Destiny is just not a good person? I know that I said that I wouldn't focus on my personal beef with Destiny in this video, but I wanted to just point out one thing. I found it really funny that in his Vosh manifesto, he cries about how people online have attacked him for identifying as non-binary in the past.
Many have attacked me in the past for identifying as a non-binary. I no longer identify this way, even though I've considered different sexual or gender identities and discussed it at length at various points in my stream.
Destiny and his community have been harassing me for years about identifying as non-binary. He said that he doesn't think my identity is real, and he tweeted that I'm faking being trans for clout, and I've had a bunch of his fans come and make fun of me.
Famously, you get so much clout when you come out as trans. Like, famously. That's like the #1 way to get clout. Everybody's always doing it. What an insane statement, dude. This is just like 90s level homophobia.
Me anytime that I post about being non-binary, which made me feel like I had to go back into the closet at one point. But when people attack Destiny for being non-binary,
many have attacked me in the past for...
It's crazy because Destiny's community also actively will portray me as a transphobe, which is really funny. And, you know, I guess some people get duped by that too, but not really as much.
For identifying as a non-binary.
It really hurts his feelings. This is just another example of Destiny being a hypocritical little bitch who cries when people are mean to him and then turns around and does that exact same shit to other people. If you want to be an asshole to non-binary people, be an asshole to non-binary people. But then don't be a weaselly little bitch who turns around and cries when people are an asshole to you about being non-binary. Destiny is the perfect example of rules for thee, but not for me. He says Bob 7 should have his life destroyed for sharing nudes without consent.
I'm not running around screen sharing people's nudes.
Then he shares nudes without consent. He criticizes Keffals for being a bully while he's the biggest bully on the internet. He cries about how people on the internet have doxed him, and then he turns around and doxes a woman who he is secretly in an active sexual...
Also, unearthed the article that doxed me and basically did it before Fox News got a hold of it too. You know, before I could even move into this house that I got for myself and my family. Just a truly repulsive, horrible individual who constantly gets in his own way and then routinely tries to talk his way out of it by telling his audience that it's actually everybody else that's coming after him and that it's never his fault, you know? It's never his fault.
Relationship with. He says it's not good to sext women who are on large streams.
I think it is wrong. Yeah, I don't think you should.
And then he turns around and sexts every single woman on his large stream. He says it's super weird to sex 19-year-olds because they're basically children.
You're a little kid.
And then he said...
By the way, this like very obvious inconsistency or hypocrisy or I guess backtracking, whatever you want to call it, exists for virtually every issue that he's talked about. And his fan base does not ever think about this as some weird inconsistency.
Sexts a 19-year-old. He says we need to hold Keffals responsible for her actions, and then he takes absolutely no responsibility for his actions. My worst crime was being too much of a gooner. If you go back and rewatch this entire video, do you agree with Destiny that his worst crime is just being too much of a gooner? Destiny, you are not too much of a gooner, you are a sex criminal. To this day, Destiny is still refusing to fully take accountability for his actions, as he has done through every single step of his career. According to Destiny, he really hates weasels. He even has a weasel emote that people spam in his chat whenever someone is trying to weasel their way out of an argument or is refusing to take accountability for their actions. Well, Destiny, I think you should get this emote tattooed on your forehead. You are a weak, pathetic little weasel, and I hope that everyone has finally opened their eyes to how much of a wriggling little weasel you always have been. I hope that after this, you take a long look in the mirror and you realize that you actually have a lot more in common with Keffals than you would ever care to admit to yourself. You have both lied to and scammed your audience. You are both massive bullies. You both aren't afraid to use harmful tactics to get what you want. And most of all, you both have a pathological need to avoid ever taking accountability. So from now on, I shall be referring to you as Keffalstony. How's that for a nuke, buddy? Anything else? Really quick before the video ends, I've linked the fundraiser for Pixie to sue Destiny down below. If you would consider donating to that, I would appreciate it so much.
Once again, it quite literally doesn't even begin to scratch the surface. You could do an 8-hour nuke similar to this about all of the different ways in which Destiny has and his community has actively harassed someone like myself or many other people. As a matter of fact, you could do virtually 8-hour pieces on the extreme harassment that is borderline criminal on virtually every smaller streamer that he's engaged with. It is crazy. His community straight up harassed journalists who have interviewed you. I know, they go after everybody. It's fucking insane. Too much on hypocrisy and not enough on how manipulative he is. The hypocrisy is just a consequence of him adjusting his discourse to massage a narrative. Oh, for sure. I do think that a lot of people only care about hypocrisy, though. Yeah, they've literally stalked Twitch staff. They've been actively stalking and doxing Twitch staff, dude. Like, it is so insane.
If this lawsuit is successful, maybe this is finally an opportunity for Destiny to be held accountable for his actions. I've also linked accounts for Pixie, Cherry, Lav, and Melina down below and recommend you give them a follow. I think in situations like these, victims can end up being kind of just used as ammo for different people to fling shit.
How has he not been banned by Twitch? He has been for years. That's the reason why he's been attacking Twitch. Part of the reason why he's been attacking Twitch is because of his own personal vendetta against Twitch, because he's still perma-banned for doing shit like this. And also on top of that, there's a million different reasons, even that aren't criminal, that are valid reasons to, you know, keep someone like him banned. I just told you guys that this motherfucker's been literally doxing and harassing Twitch staff, dude. How is no one talking about this? This is so unknown. Part of the reason why is because a lot of content creators, I think, see it as like open territory, especially if they want to beef up their apolitical bona fides to come after someone like myself and be like, yeah, focus on, right? A lot of large content creators don't necessarily shy away from engaging in the focus on train. XQC is a fantastic example of this. Like, he has for years and years been super close to Sexpestiny and has actively platformed him, actively come after me. Sexpestiny and his community, Diddy G, have used XQC as a vehicle to launch these attacks as well. Having said that, people don't necessarily want to talk about Destiny in general, partially because a lot of content creators are genuinely worried about the harassment cult that he has created and shy away from any sort of criticism. Same goes for many other large content creators. A lot of other large content creators with very active communities that are not above using their communities to attack other content creators, naysayers and whatnot. Like Asmongold will probably watch the Ethan Nuke, upload it, react, will get millions of fucking views. XQC will do the same if he hasn't already done so. These guys don't have a problem coming after someone who is on the left. They do, however, have a problem coming after people on, you know, coming after people like Destiny in general, because his community doesn't shy away from aggressively pursuing people that Destiny considers to be bad. This entire video basically spells it out. But yeah, that's it. Good video overall. Shouts out to Ryan Beard for putting themselves out there like this.